The Opinionated Idiot.
Happy Saturday, everybody. It is your boy, Brian, and we are back here for another edition, another live show on the Opinionated Idiot YouTube live show channel stuff. That's my channel. I'll get this intro one time or another. It is April 15, 2023. I want to welcome everybody back to the channel and back for another live. I've had action-packed show. Probably going to be a long one this evening because I have a lot of material to go through. But I want to welcome, again, everybody back. I know this is kind of an off night for me, but I've been wanting to try to do a series and a different series of parts to this show. And I wanted to really kick it off tonight because everything is fresh in my head. And my schedule this week's going to be a little bit wacky because of work, and I have some other personal stuff going on. So look for some changes this week in the schedule. I'm not going to be live on Tuesday, and I really want to run with this Idaho theme probably for the next week or two. So we're going to bunk out the Tuesday and Thursday nights of Throwback Thursday and Serial Killer Tuesday right now, because I really want to focus on this. I have a lot of stuff to get into, and I want to go all the way back tonight. I want to start all the way back from the beginning of this case, and I'm going to go back and pull up this evening the press conferences, because I think this is very important to go back because we're so far forward in the Idaho case right now. We're getting very close to June 26th, where this preliminary hearing is supposed to happen. And I think sometimes we lose sight as to how this initially was reported. So what I have this evening is I'm going to pull up the first press conference from November 16th, the first official Moscow police press conference. We're going to go to the second one on November 20th. We're going to do the third press conference on November 23rd. I'll get these dates out, I promise. Then we're going to do, there was a lack in press conferences, but Moscow was doing like these one little bits in between November 23rd up to the 28th. The 28th, we had a Chief Fry follow-up. It was about a 15-minute video. Then on the 30th, we had the Bryan Kohberger announcement of the arrest. And then on the 31st, we had the one-day follow-up with Police Fry. And that's about a 20-minute interview. So it's going to be a little bit of a long show. I'm going to try to get through all these pressers that we can. But I really want to do this. If something seems different or deviates what's being said in the conversations, I have the affidavit pulled up, and we can look at the affidavit and cross-reference it. I'm going to be making some notes if anything is weird or pops out to me how this is first reported. And I think that it's going to be very interesting to see how this initially was reported up until Bryan Kohberger was arrested, because all those tips, all that new information comes in, all that investigating comes in, and I want to see how things change, and I want to see that shift, and I want to hear how they, maybe the tone that they're getting closer, that they may have someone in their sights, or they had Bryan Kohberger in their sights. So I think this will be really, I don't want to say fun, but I think it will be very formative and kind of tell a story of what happened up there, because in my opinion, I felt like for a while as this was dragging on, I'm like, they're not going to catch anybody. I think this person came in and came out, and this might be, you hear someone in 10 years. And I think everybody kind of felt like that at that point. But, we'll get through this. I think this will be a really informative show this evening. I've been really excited to do this and go back to the beginning because no one has done this. No one has done this on their channel. And I think we need to go back and look at all of this and kind of maybe there's something we miss, or maybe there's something that we see, or maybe there's something we hear differently that can kind of give us some more clues as to what's going on. And maybe it will change some opinions, some of your minds about this case. But I want to look up here and just kind of recognize all my faithful viewers here. Karen T's in the chat. I want to say hi to her. Of course, my camera's blaring out here. Let me get that refocused for you guys. Mandy Joe is here. I almost said Mama Joe. Well, Mama Joe is driving and listening right now. Cactus Flower is in the house as well. DM is here. Good to see you. AZ says, badass jam. Thank you so much. Dr. Bob is here as well. I have George in the chat. I have Jeff Lane here as well. He has upvoted. Thank you so much, Jeff. Danielle is here. We have Firefly is here. And Dina is here as well. Good to see you, Dina. Dina and I have some conversation. Karen T is here as well. Good on you for focusing on Idaho. Yeah, I mean, if this is your first time over on the channel, I have a huge Idaho playlist. We usually do our Idaho conversations on Sunday nights, but I wanted to get started a little bit early and get out and start doing some of this. Terry Dean is here as well. Good to see you, Terry. And Ellie's here. She said, so excited for tonight. Thanks for joining the live chat. Susie is here as well. Hello to you. And I think I've got everybody so far. So I know the chat will pretty much fill in. Maybe we can get some people here on this Saturday night to come and hang out with us. And we'll continue on with the show. But I wanted to, before we get into the main topic of tonight, something kind of hit me. I was talking to one of my fans offline last night. We had a very long conversation, and I want to appreciate that fan for spending some time with me. And we were kind of going through just some scenarios, running through some things. And something that kind of dawned on me, and it's kind of, I don't say bothered me, but I've always had this kind of wonder about it. And her and I actually were discussing this last night. This kind of military theme, As we know, the knife that was found was a K-bar style knife. The sheath that was used had the U.S. Marine Corps insignia on it. And the K-bar style knife is usually something that, a Marine Corps person would have. So I started to look around today, and I actually said this last night, but I did a little bit more research on this today. Last night, I said to this fan of mine, I said, it's really strange, that I feel this kind of military thing. Like, let's just say Bryan Kohberger allegedly wanted to make this feel like it was someone in the military that did this. Maybe that's why he left the sheath. Maybe the sheath wasn't left by accident. It was just kind of put there to kind of throw Moscow police off. And I said, well, what would make him think that and make him do that? So I started kind of searching around. I said, gee, I wonder if there's any military bases around Pullman. Well, come to find out, and let me pull this up. There is, right around the Washington State University, and I don't know if you can see my screen right here, and I'm going to zoom in here in a second. There is, if you look, it's a Marine Corps recruiting office. So I looked here, and I don't know how big I can get this, and this is right in the vicinity of the university, okay? And then another thing that I found, which is very, kind of surprising and alarming as well, and I'll pull this up. There is, and I know this is not Marines, but right on the basically Washington State University, there's a U.S. Air Force base, and they run ROTC through that. So I just was like, I wonder if it is Bryan Kohberger or the suspect that did this, because right now Bryan Kohberger is just alleged in this, and everybody is always innocent until proven guilty. So I'm wondering if they were doing this to kind of throw off the investigation, to make it look like it was some type of military person that did this. And if you scout around in and out around the area, and even in Moscow at the university there is other little military things and ROTCs that happen in that school too. So I just found that kind of fascinating, interesting. I don't know if anybody has explored that angle on any of their channels, but I just found this very interesting. It was very, 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 very interesting. So what I want to do right now is go back to the very first presser, and we'll pull that up. And I actually want to just pull up a first like news, breaking news type of break-in, and we'll go through that first. I'm going to play that really quick. And this was the first account that we heard about the Idaho murders.
This hour, we are tracking breaking news. Just a moment ago, Moscow police confirmed 4 people were found dead in a home just steps away from the University of Idaho campus. Right now, we're continuing to work to get more details tonight. We know that students were ordered to shelter in place for a time this afternoon because of the scene's proximity to campus. That order has been lifted. Krem 2 crews traveled down to Moscow as reports came in earlier today. We go now to Janelle Finch, and she was one of the first reporters on scene to talk with police and with neighbors in the area. Janelle.
I've been here in Moscow on scene since about 3 p.m. Since I've been here, I've watched Moscow police cars come in and out of this neighborhood where officials found 4 people dead. Neighbors say they began noticing police cars flood the area around 12 p.m. today. Moscow police say they responded to a call here on King Road for an unconscious individual. Upon further investigation, officials found 4 people dead. While police investigated the scene, the University of Idaho enacted a shelter-in-place alert as university officials reported a homicide near campus. As we've stated,
just want to rewind that and look at that back door again.
While police investigated the scene, the University of Idaho enacted a...
All right, they had the door open, most likely because of investigation.
Shelter-in-place alert as university officials reported a homicide near campus. As we've stated, that alert is lifted at this time. Neighbors say most people living in this area are a part of U of I Greek life or are students, but we do not know the identities of those involved or who lives at the residence. Officials are investigating. This is a very much developing situation, and we will continue to stay on the grounds until we have more information to report back to you. Until then, in Moscow, Janelle Finch, Krem 2 News.
Thank you so much, Janelle. And Krem 2 will stay on scene in Moscow throughout tonight, and we'll continue to bring you an update coming up during our 6 o'clock newscast. Thank you so much, Janelle.
So that really was kind of the first breaking news that we heard, when all this started to happen. And then obviously we had the first press conference on 11/16/22. So I'm going to play that there. We'll play through this. And I think this is just really educational to go back. I want to see how the first reporting was and how it evolved over that month and a half, almost 2 months. And we'll start playing through this. Hang on one second. All right, so this presser is on November 16th, 2022.
My name is Chief James Fry with the Moscow Police Department. I'm going to be reading from my notes today because I want the information.
First of all, I just want to do this really quick. I want to recognize, let's see, really quick. Suthi Gusi is here. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in, checking out my channel. I do appreciate it. Follow you on Twitter, by the way. If you have anything to add, please add it there in the chat. All right.
Let's you received to be extremely accurate. We know you have questions, and so do we. That is why we're here. I'd like to thank everyone for attending this press conference. Joining me today is the Latah County Prosecutor Bill Thompson.
I forgot my glasses today.
University of Idaho President Scott Green, Provost and Vice President Tori Lawrence, University of Idaho Dean of Students Blaine Eccles, Latah County Sheriff Richie Skiles, Chief Deputy of Latah County Tim Best, Idaho State Police Colonel Kedrick Wills. The Moscow Police Department would like to extend our condolences to all family members, friends, the University of Idaho, and the Moscow community. This was a horrible crime that took the lives of Ethan Chapin, Xana
I'm just going to address this really. Tsunami. Yeah. So basically, you know that I usually run on Sunday nights. I just have kind of a wacky schedule this week. So I wanted to just get a head start on this. I have quite a few of these planned throughout the next week or two. We're going to really focus in on Idaho here the next week or two. I know usually we do Serial Killer Tuesdays and Throwback Thursday. But we're going to bunk that for the next about 2 weeks and really dive back and do a deep dive here of going back to the first initial reporting, because I haven't seen anybody do that. And I think it's important to see, like I was saying in the beginning of the show, it's important to see where they were at when they first started and where it landed and as to where we are now. So, maybe we see something or hear something that maybe something we missed. So let's check this out.
Nodal, Madison Mogan, and Kaylee Goncalves. This horrible crime has affected all of us, the families, the University of Idaho, our community, our country, and our officers. Agencies that are involved in this task force include Latah County Sheriff's Office, the Idaho State Police, and the Federal Bureau of Investigations. As we continue our investigation, we have learned that Ethan and Xana were at a party on campus, and Madison and Kaylee were at a downtown bar. They arrived home sometime after 1:45. If anyone in our community or across our nation has any information about these times or the victim's whereabouts, please call our tip line at 208-883-7180. The facts of the case that we know right now. We know that
this is going to be really interesting. Let's take note of this.
Homicides occurred in the early morning hours of Sunday, November 13th. Around noon, Moscow officers received a call of an unconscious person. Officers discovered the bodies of Ethan Chapman.
You can tell Fry is really nervous here. I mean, he just stumbled his words there. You can hear that he's shaking. He has desperation in his voice. This is national media. He's really on the big stage.
Xana Kernodal, Madison Mogan, and Kaylee Goncalves inside the residence on King Road. The four were stabbed with a knife, but no weapon has been located at this time. There was no sign of forced entry into the residence. Investigators are continuing to collect evidence at the scene. Investigators are working to develop a timeline to relevant events.
So again, this is
autopsies.
This is really fresh. I mean, you got to think this is only 3 days after what happened. They're still gathering a lot of information at this point. They're now currently asking for tips. The minimal information that's come in, it's just really interesting. It's really interesting, and as the time evolves, that they'll start to know more information in the investigation.
They're taking place today on all the victims, so we can continue to gather evidence and solve the crime. Investigators are working to follow up on all leads and to identify a person of interest. Based on details at the scene, we believe this was an isolated, targeted attack.
Wow, he's really shaky.
On our victims. We do not have a suspect at this time, and that individual is still out there. We cannot say that there's no threat to the community, and as we have stated, please stay vigilant, report any suspicious activity, and be aware of your surroundings at all times.
So 3 days out, they were reporting that they couldn't say that there was any type of threat. But I believe by like the second or third, they said that there wasn't any threat. Am I correct about that? That there wouldn't be there was no threat anymore? Am I correct? Someone tell me in the chat.
What we do know, or what we don't know, excuse me, the identity and location of the suspect, the location of the knife, or any clothing that was worn by the suspect. Currently, we have 25 plus investigators working this case, as well as assistance from the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the Idaho State Police. We're reviewing video that has been collected, but we were asked.
It did evolve a little bit, Sleuthy. I mean, I remember kind of scrubbing through some of these and going back, it does evolve as they kind of, but I hear what you're saying, but I think it's still to go back and good to review these because we might hear or see something different. So we'll keep playing through, but yeah, no, I totally agree.
Asking citizens
usually
to
just
contact
formality.
us with any information you may have that will help in this investigation. Once again, we're asking anyone with a tip to call the tip line at 208.
Yeah, I mean, he's super nervous, and that's why I think he's just reading directly from, kind of the script. You got to think this is national, national, and then it gets moved to like world news. So he's, all eyes are on him right now.
37180. At this time, I would like to introduce the University of Idaho President, Scott Green.
That's like, let me get the hell out of the way.
Thank you, Chief Fry. I'm Scott Green, President of the University of Idaho, and with me is Tori Lawrence. He's our Provost, and Blaine Eccles, our Dean of Students, will be available for questions after all of the statements are made. The crime, to us, this crime and the loss of these young lives is just simply beyond comprehension. While our small community is certainly not immune to such things, it's not a situation our close-knit campus is used to dealing with. First, my deepest condolences to the families. And friends of Ethan, Kaylee, Zena, and Madison. Excuse me. Their loss has been devastating, and they were bright lights in our community and are deeply missed and remain in our thoughts and our prayers. We've been working with Moscow police since we were notified on Sunday of the crime. We've helped when asked and continually pushed for information whenever possible, knowing that we cannot interfere with the important work and good investigations that are occurring. We just want justice for these victims.
I mean, you got to think, I'm going to wait for this to pop up. Daniel says he's so choked up he can hardly talk. I mean, you got to think this is a major tragic event, in such a small, a tight community. I mean, we know how small that community is in and around the university, and especially even in Pullman. I mean, it seems like a large university, but it's very tight knit over there. We know of all the activity that goes on in and out of those areas, but something like this is going to really shake you to the core. I know I would have, seriously a hard time speaking in times like this, of course.
Our focus at the university is to support our students and our employees. We are encouraging students and employees to take care of themselves as we head into Thanksgiving break. I want to take a moment to commend our faculty and staff who have been on the front lines helping our students, whether that is providing counseling to those in need of support, accommodating those
that's for a lot of drug activity,
or engaging those who find comfort in staying busy interacting with their peers and our instructors in class. Our employees stepped up when our students needed them. While we have relied heavily on the expertise of Moscow police, we feel confident that remaining open with flexibility to leave allows our students to decide what is best for them. The weeks ahead will continue to challenge us as this loss and the circumstances around this crime become known. We will support each other as we grieve, and we'll move through this together as a Vandal family. Thank you.
I would like to have Colonel Kedrick Wills come to the podium, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Kedrick Wills. I serve as the director of the Idaho State Police. And as we have this discussion today, I'd like to express my appreciation for your attendance here because it's important, vitally important, that we get the information that we have out to the public. Crime knows no boundaries, and these murders have shaken us to our very core. You heard the university president as well as the chief of police talk about this small community, and it's a very close, tight-knit community. and our hearts break for the families that's lost their loved ones, the University of Idaho, the Moscow community, and even within our entire state. Be assured, the Idaho State Police is firmly in support of the work that the Moscow Police Department is doing, and we are providing every resource that we can to make sure that this comes to a conclusion, and that the person or people that this are responsible are brought to justice. It's so important that you understand that this takes a team effort. This is teamwork with the university, with this Moscow City Police Department, the Latah County Sheriff's Office, the Idaho State Police, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. It takes everybody to be able to do this. And it's a balancing act. It's a balancing act of getting the community the information that they need to have with making sure that we provide a case that the Latah County Prosecutor's Office can go forward with. Governor Little, Idaho's governor, has assured me that the full weight of all the resources we have within our state are available to Chief Fry and to his team.
The first one.
Our crime lab is also
First
involved
presser.
with processing evidence, and our law enforcement throughout the region, state and federal agencies continue to provide resources. From the Idaho State Police's perspective, we provided detectives here from this area, as well as detectives from out of the area, state police detectives, as well as patrol resources and communications assistance as well to provide for Chief Fry and his team. Following this briefing, our communications director from the Idaho State Police, Aaron Snell, if you'd raise your hand, Aaron, he will be the contact for all press media inquiries from here on out. He'll be working closely with Chief Fry and his team. And we have additional, like I said, additional patrol and investigation resources brought to bear here as well. We want to do everything we can to make sure that this is done correctly and that the people that are responsible for this are brought to justice.
So at this time, I'm going to open it up to some questions that I'm sure you have.
All right, this is going to be really interesting. Sleuthie actually pointed that out as well too. So I think this would be really great to see what kind of questions were being asked. 3 days fresh out of these terrible murders. So let's listen here.
And we'll do the best we can to answer those for you.
He's very shaky. Wow, he's still very shaky.
Hello, Chief Ray.
Hello.
Thank you for having us. I'm Amanda Rowley with Creme 2 News. You mentioned that there's an indication that it's an isolated, targeted incident, and there is an individual somewhere. Can you give us a reason as to why there's that belief there is a suspect? And can you also give a little more information on the forced entry? There's no sign of forced entry, but was the door, did it seem like any of the entries were left unlocked by any means?
I'll answer the last part there just because it's at the front end of my mind. We're not 100% sure if the door was unlocked, but there was no damage to anything, and the door was still open when we got there.
And my first question,
Yeah.
if you'd like me to read.
Hey,
No, I think I haven't. In these cases, we take the totality of the things that we see, and they're very dynamic, right? And they're very big, and there's a lot of information, and we try to take that information, and some of it we can't share with you, correct? But we try to take that information. We try to make the best educated decision we can. We review that as a team with our detectives.
It's a very standard formality answer right here. So we can make note of that.
With our prosecutors, along with the university, and we try to make that best decision on that. So we, at that time, believe that
He's very
there
nervous.
was no a threat, and our goal is to provide safety for this
He
community.
sounds like me when I went on my first live stream. I'll be honest with you, I came on tonight and I had a little jitters in here. Sometimes it happens, because you have so much flowing through your mind and you're trying to get all of that out. But it happens to me. I still, and I've done hundreds of live streams, and I've talked, I used to play in bands in front of people, and I still get nervous. But this is major news for him.
That's why we're bringing in the resources we're bringing. We want a close to this, and we want to do everything we can to let the people in our community know that we care. We want them to feel safe. We want them to be safe. and we're going to do everything we can to do that.
And if I could add one more question. You asked for videos or anything from the community to help put together that timeline. We obtained a copy of Twitch video, and family members of the Gonsalves family were able to identify Maddie and Kaylee in those videos at a food truck ordering food. Is the police department, our investigators, aware of that video, and has it helped put together that timeline?
We are aware of that video, and it has helped. It gives us a time and space where we know that two of our victims were, and that helps us a ton, and we'll continue to follow up all leads that we can and continue to gather those.
Any indication of a party at the home that night?
And this will be the last one. Okay, I understand. Not that we know of, not at the home. We know that the other,
I don't think so,
get the
Ellie.
name's exactly right here. We know that Zaina and
I'd love to know where Sleuthy is at this juncture of the case, because I know you're really been on this one. I'd love to pick your brain.
Ethan were at a different party on campus.
Thank you.
But that timeline will still help us if other people know about that.
Thank you.
Chief Wright, John Webb with KHQ. On September 12th, there was a vandal alert that was sent out about a potential stabbing threat on Paradise Path. Does this have any connection with what we've seen so far?
Not that we know of it, but we're following up every lead. Every piece of information we get, we are following.
I haven't
up
heard
to
of that
ensure
one.
That nothing
Paradise Path. What was that? Paradise Path stabbing? I haven't heard of that.
has.
See, this is why, or maybe I did and I didn't remember. This is why I think this is really great to go back and listen to these.
Gone unturned. We want to have.
I'm gonna write that one down.
The individual identified.
Luffy's probably already
who
got
is
it,
the
though.
suspect of this eventually. So we are literally looking into every aspect of everything.
And you guys have said repeatedly that there's no threat
She'll
to
let
the
me know.
public, but we don't know who the suspect is. We don't know where he's at. How is there no threat to the public at this point?
Well, that's kind of an unknown. Like I said, we took the information that we had at the time, but we do need to be aware the individual is still out there, right? We need to be vigilant. We need to watch out for our neighbors. We're a community policing community. We've said that for years, and it's a community that watches out for.
Like I said, we were talking about this the other night. Even with the probable cause affidavit, with all the search warrants, you read through that stuff once, and then it's like. It's almost like you glaze through it. You go back to it a month later and you're like, holy shit, I missed that. Or, wow, that was right there in front of us the whole time. And that's why I think it's always great to go all the way back to the beginning, and like I said, maybe something pops up or maybe something jars our mind while doing this. Something, another thing to think about.
Do that until we can close this off and make an arrest.
Why has there been such limited information over the past couple of days? I mean, we're almost 4 days into this. Why has it been so limited?
Yeah, it's a difficult. We have a lot of information coming in, and we have tried to push out some information through press releases. But the reality is, I probably should have been standing here a day or so ago, but I'm here now. We're going to continue to be here. We're going to continue to give you the information we can. We care about this community. I care about this community. I've worked here for 27 years. I want this community to be the safest community around. So
the mayor's called it a crime of passion. Is there any indication that that's true?
We're looking into every aspect of this. I'm not going to stipulate whether it's one thing or another. We're going to continue to investigate until evidence will get that. So,
okay. One last question, if I could, Chief. Have we looked at any boyfriends or any ex-boyfriends, any spouses as a potential suspect?
I will tell you, we are looking at everyone. Every tip we get, every lead we get. There's no one that we're not going to talk to. There's no one we're not going to interview. There's no one that we're not going to look into. And we're going to do our due diligence. We're going to make sure that nothing goes unturned, and that we do everything we can with the assistance of all the resources we have to get a final answer.
Thanks, Chief Wright.
So
yeah, I saw that
there were-
too.
Sorry, I'm Matt Epperly with this book's interview.
I saw that too.
So there were other roommates who lived at that residence. Were the roommates home at the time of the attack?
There was other people home at that time, but we're not just focusing just on them, we're focusing on everybody that may be coming and going from that residence.
It almost seems like he was very dismissive of the people that were there. Let's rewind that. And look at it. It's the most replayed section of this video. Look. It's the most replayed section of this video. The question about the other two. Look at this.
To get a final answer.
Thanks, Chief Ryan.
Ready? Look, this is the most replayed question.
So there were, sorry, I'm Emma Epperly with this Folks
Hi.
Interview. Hi. So there were other roommates who lived at that residence. Were the roommates home at the time of the attack?
There was other people home at that time, but we're not just focusing just on them. We're focusing on everybody that may be coming and going from that residence.
So since they were home, was it a hostage situation?
No, it was not.
And then
Why the hesitation? Let's go back. This is the most played section in this video. I'm going to go back again.
Hi.
Why the
So there
hesitation?
were other roommates who lived at that residence. Were the roommates home?
And believe me, I have a wild theory about this too. And I actually talked to a fan the other night. We were talking on the phone about this, about hostage situation. Is it plausible? And I'm going to throw a wild theory out there right now. Is it plausible that the suspect, or allegedly Bryan Kohberger, takes one of these girls hostage? Why did he come back at 9 o'clock in the morning? Drop him off? Why was he so protective about this?
There was other people home at that time, but we're not just focusing just on them. We're focusing on everybody that may be coming and going from that residence.
So since they were home, was it a hostage situation?
No, it was not.
And then did they didn't call it into police? So
We're not
were they?
We're not going to
injured?
get through all these videos tonight.
They were not injured. But like I said, we're still following up with everybody that could have been in that area.
And how can you say it's a targeted attack if you don't have a suspect?
Like I said, we take the totality of the situation. We try to make the best bit of information we can with everything that comes in, and then we make our decision off of that. So at this time, I'm not going to expand upon that. But like I've said, we do have a suspect out somewhere, and we are looking for that individual to solve this.
Hi, Rachel Sun, Northwest Public Broadcasting. I just
Oh,
want to
she has a
clarify
mask on.
something
Be
you said
careful.
earlier. Over the
She's got a
past couple
mask
of
on.
days, the information that we've been getting is there's not a threat to the public. And earlier I heard you say you can't be sure that there is no threat. I just want to clarify what your stance is on that at this time.
So we still believe it's a targeted
Still very
attack.
nervous.
But the reality is there's still a person out there who committed 4 horrible, horrible crimes. So I think we got to go back to there is a threat out there still, possibly.
back.
We don't know. We don't believe it's going to be to anybody else. But we all have to be aware of our surroundings and make sure that we're watching out for each other.
Okay, and then one other follow-up. I know you said when the call came in, it was for an unconscious person, and also that was a stabbing. It seems, just from an outside perspective looking in, like that would be not the first thing a person calling in would think.
You're right. But the report that we got was that it was an unconscious individual. It wasn't until our officers arrived on scene, went in to do caregiving check on the individual who was unconscious, that we found the scene that we found.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, Heather Roberts with ABC News. Just to follow up on what she asked. So the other 2 roommates were there at the time of the attack?
All the information that we have from our investigation is that, yes, they were.
Okay, but they were unhurt.
That is correct.
So is there any explanation as to why it took so long then for someone to call 911? You have surviving witnesses to an incident at 3 or 4 in the morning, and the 911 call didn't come until noon?
I don't think I ever said that they were witnesses. I said they were there. So, we
What
don't
did I
know why
miss?
that.
Witnesses.
Hi, Heather Roberts with ABC News. Just to follow up on what she asked. So the other two roommates were there at the time of the attack?
All the information that we have from our investigation is that yes, they were.
Okay, but they were unhurt.
That is correct.
So is there any explanation as to why it took so long then for someone to call 911? You have surviving witnesses to an incident at 3 or 4 in the morning, and the 911 call didn't come until noon?
I don't think I ever said that they were witnesses. I said they were there. So, you know, we don't know why that call.
Wait,
came
I
in
missed that. I'm gonna
and
go back. I'm
and
sorry.
not-
I gotta go back. I gotta go back.
All the-
Hang on one second. Hang on a second. I'm losing myself here. Hang on. Let me do some recognition here. I got a 199 super chat from Stinkfinger. I don't know why that just cracked me up so much. Oh my god.
Great cash, homie.
Thank you so much. Says great show. Says great show. Love. Says great show. Love the recap. Oh man, I don't know why that cracked me up. That's a great name. All right, let's play the. I gotta back up here. I missed this.
Information that we have from our investigation is that yes, they were.
Okay, but they were unhurt.
That is correct.
So is there any explanation as to why it took so long then for someone to call
All right, this is important. This is the big moment. I feel like Trump hands. Ooh, it's right here.
911? You have surviving witnesses to an incident at 3 or 4 in the morning, and the 911 call didn't come until noon?
I don't think I ever said that they were witnesses. I said they were there. So, you know, we don't know why that call came in at noon and not in the middle of the night. Would have we loved for that to have happened? Yes, but that's not how it took place. So that's why we're investigating everything still to try to pull all the pieces together.
Were they one of the people, were they the 911 caller?
At this point in time, I'm not going to divulge who our 911 caller is, just because I want to keep the integrity of the investigation at this point. Okay.
Okay. And last question, are you able to tell whether the same weapon was used on all 4 victims?
You know, that's why we're having the autopsies done. The autopsy will confirm that and hopefully collect some evidence for us, even from those. That's why you do the autopsies, is to try to be thorough and try to gather more. So we'll leave that would probably be something that would come out later.
Excuse me, Derek Shug, Fox News Digital. Was there anything missing in the home, or were the purses still there? Any robbery attempt, anything like that?
Nothing that we have identified. And I'm going to take about 2 more questions. All right.
Hi, I'm Tim with the Daily Evergreen. I was just wondering, were the 2 other individuals present at the home when police responded at noon?
Yes.
Chief, if you don't mind elaborating a bit more on those 2 people. Was it 2 people? What have those people shared about the circumstances of that night, what they saw or didn't see?
Well, I'm not going to go into what they shared that night. Obviously, that's part of our investigation. That's part of the information that we're trying to build our complete story with. So as far as that goes, we're not going to go any further into what they know and what they don't know.
How many were there?
We believe 2.
Chief, have you looked into the social media accounts of all the different victims, and do you we understand that one may have had an account linked to her Instagram account? Have you looked into those accounts? Have you seen any sort of threats made to any of the individuals?
So we are looking at all resources. You know, we got, like I said, the Federal Bureau of Investigation helping us. We got our detectives, our forensic detectives looking into that. We're trying to pull this whole picture. We're looking at every.
You guys could do me a favor. If you just came into the chat, please go down and smash that like button. I really would appreciate it. We got 70 people in here watching. I'd love to get 70 likes. That'd be great. Thank you.
Thing that we can look at, social media, etc. So to answer your question, yes, we are.
Were the victims all found in one part of the house?
I'm not going to divulge that either. That's part of our investigation. And at this time, I'm going to go ahead and close this off. But if you'd like to, if you have any questions,
thank you.
We'll open that up at this point in time.
who has not had a chance to ask a question. Yes, over here. Yes.
Oh, thanks. Actually, I had a question for the chief, so I don't know.
Okay.
Like, oh my God. Like, oh
What
my
is
God.
the university doing to make their students feel safe?
Yeah, great question. At this time, I think I'll turn this over to Blaine, who's been dealing directly with our students and dealing with those that truly still feel unsafe despite some of the assurances and things that we're doing. Blaine?
A question of safety is on everyone's mind right now. We have increased campus safety patrols. Our executive director of campus safety and security, Jake Nichols, is out in the hallway actually here, and so I'm sure he'd be able to answer some of those questions. We have a campus safety escort where students can call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to arrange for a security escort to be escorted across campus during the day or night. It doesn't matter at any point in time. We're also providing resources to students to help them navigate through this from an emotional standpoint. We've had drop-in counseling that has been utilized both in our counseling center as well as the student union building. And we're also supporting students, like President Green indicated, that if they want to leave and go home now, they absolutely can. We're going to support them in doing so. Many students have questions about their academics and whatnot, but this is a very dynamic, fluid situation, and we want to make sure we're supporting students and their families to get through this the way that they need to.
Wait a minute. So four brutal murders happen over near a campus, and they're like, "Oh yeah, just everybody go home. It's fine. Just take off. It's fine." We're just encouraging people to leave. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Washington State University is about 8 miles that way. What would you suggest that Wazoo does to make their students feel safe if they're unsafe?
Yeah, communication and encouraging students to reach out and use resources. That's a fantastic campus. I talked to their dean of students. And
If Sleuthie's in the chat, she may know this. I think they were called right away. Let me see if I can Google something really quick. So on November 17th, there was a report from the New York Post, and I'll bring that up really quick so we can take a look at it. That's a great question asked by AZ. Hang on, let me pull this up real quick. We'll look at it. So it says New York Post says FBI joins investigation into murder of University of Idaho students with multiple suspects still possible. That was on November 17, 2022. It says the FBI has joined the investigation into the gruesome stabbings of the 4 University of Idaho students as prosecutors warn the killer or killers that are still at large. Moscow Police Chief Fry said the FBI has joined the Latah County Sheriff's Office and the Idaho State Police to investigate the bloody murders, which happened at the students' off-campus home. Currently, we have about 25 plus investigators working on the case. The murderer is still out there, Fry added, noting that investigators are continuing to collect evidence at the scene. Meanwhile, Latah County prosecuting attorney Bill Thompson said, "It is certainly is possible there is more than one suspect on the Today Show on Thursday. All 4 victims, let's see. Authorities revealed Wednesday a 911 call wasn't made until hours later, saying they could not give a reason why and would not reveal who made it, citing the open investigation. Initially, the local police officer said that they believe the attack was targeted and there was no immediate threat to the local community, but now appeared to have backtracked. Although the FBI is the best known for investigating interstate and federal crimes, it is often brought in to assist similar police forces when a crime of magnitude happens, as such access to resources and technology. Latah said Thursday that investigators do not know who the person is, referring to the murderer. Police also in search of a murder weapon and believe that it might be a Rambo-style knife, a local store owner said. Moscow building supply manager Scott Juliet told Idaho Statements that a police officer came into the store and inquired about a sale of a K-Bar branded combat blade. Juliet said the knife in question was used by the U.S. Marines in the 1940s and is similar to the knife Rambo has. And that's it for the article. Very interesting going back and looking back. That's why I think it's always great to go back and look at all of this stuff. All right, let's keep pulling up the press conference and finish that one out and go on to the next if I can find my tab here. I'm sorry. Where was I? This here. All right.
Office yesterday, and they are mobilizing their support resources. All campuses have supports in place. Students just need to make sure they're leaning in and reaching out to it. And many times students don't, but we encourage that. Absolutely.
Hi, this is Hadia Thark with the Argonaut. This may be a question for Scott Green or Blaine Eccles. So with the decision to cancel classes on Monday, while I understand the university is trying to remain flexible for students, why has class not been canceled for the remainder of the week?
Well, because a number of our students still want to go to class. They gain comfort in being around their other students.
I don't know. Going back and looking all this now and just going back to the first initial press conference and then reading articles that were back then, I still think there is so much more to this case that we haven't heard. Why are they protecting all these people around this 911 call? Why this? Again, we still talked about it. Why this 8-hour gap? That's starting to be brought up again. I did my video about it a couple of days ago, which is getting awesome traction right now. Thank you very much, YouTube. Thank you very much, subscribers. But there's so much more in this case. I want to be like, I want to get to the preliminary hearing and just be like, wow, I didn't even see that coming. I just feel it's going to be one of those type of things.
They gain comfort from interacting and staying busy with their faculty and attending classes, labs. Some are working on their semester projects. So we've heard from them. At the same time, we want to provide the ability for any student who did not feel comfortable staying around, who did not want, who was unable to process that way, that they had that opportunity to go, and we've been helping them as well. All these absences are excused. We've asked our faculty to work with
If you're just joining the chat, we're actually back to the first Moscow, Idaho Police Department press conference that happened on 11/16/22. The theme of these shows over the next couple of weeks is we're going to go back from the start and go all the way up to present day, all the media coverage, all the press conferences, and just see all the twists and turns in this story. So let's keep playing through this. If you can, please smash that like button. I really would appreciate it.
Those students who chose to go. So we felt this is the best way, to respond, to give as much flexibility as we could to our students and our faculty. And frankly, I think they've done a very, very good job.
Is the university working with the parents or the families of the victims? Are you in touch with them?
They are. I'll turn that back.
Who's a douche canoe?
Back over to Blaine. I know he's been.
Me?
We both have been in contact with the families, but he's been very close to it. And so, Blaine, you want to take that question?
Absolutely. One of the hardest jobs I have is talking to parents of us. It's the absolute worst part of my job. And so I've reached out and made contact.
So the best thing to do to get notifications for my channel is I'm going to let you all know this. I use the community tab a lot on the homepage. If you go to my community tab and just check it like every couple of days, you'll see my live streams are every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. Yes, my time this week is a little bit messed up, but for majority of like 99% of the time, I stick to those nights. My week this week is a little messed up. I have some things going on in my personal life, and I kind of wanted to get out ahead of this to get this started, because I want to really go through this the next week or two and really peel back the layers and see if we see anything or what the major shift was in this investigation. Another thing that you can do as well too, that I notify a lot in, and I'll drop the link there, is you can join my Facebook page. I do a lot of notification on there. Well, if I do any type of like pop-up type of streams, you'll get all those notifications. on there as well too. And then the third thing that you can do is make sure you go down below when you have your little subscribe button there, maybe unsubscribe, subscribe again, or even just turn all of your notifications on. You should get my thing. Another thing that I can only say is I'm probably getting shadow banned because of the type of content we do here. So that's the best that I can say and do. But just keep checking. I use the community tab a lot, and I use Facebook a lot.
Contact with all the families
And Twitter.
We've offered our
Twitter as
support,
well.
and we're going to stay in constant contact with them. I communicated with them almost every day. We usually give a little space and time before we reach out, just for the
Twitter.
sheer shock of absorbing the loss of a child and what that looks like. But we're going to stay in support of them moving forward for the weeks and months to come, and in whatever capacity they need.
We've talked to a few of them, and they've expressed some frustration with the lack of communication from investigators and from the officials involved on that side of it. Has the university heard that from them? How are you working with them to help kind of close that communication gap?
Sure. I do know that Captain Barrett from the Moscow Police Department is also in constant contact with them. He reaches out to them on a regular basis. From that standpoint, I think it's safe to say everyone, the families most of all, want information, and they want justice. And I can't do anything but honor what their needs are and what they are. Whenever I hear a concern from the family members about what's going on, I definitely make sure I communicate that to the Moscow Police Department. They're very busy. The men and women of this department are working really hard on their behalf and on our community's behalf. But if I can be a conduit to share information, we're absolutely going to do that.
Yeah, I sadly have I have a personal life. It's kind of sad though.
Has there been any update on the candlelight vigil that is postponed until after the break?
I believe it's November 30th.
November
At what time?
We're looking at 5 or 5:30. We're trying to finalize. Well, let me say.
Yeah.
There was a candlelight vigil that was originally scheduled.
I do. I have
tonight, but
Twitter.
because of
I'll drop the link in here.
volume of
Hang on.
students who have left, we want to make sure we're creating a space where they can participate. We don't want someone driving back during this time to do that. So we have rescheduled to November 30th. We haven't finalized the time. We will definitely be sharing that out to our students in our community and the larger community. We're just finalizing some details. We're going to communicate that with the families as well. It'll be.
I'm not on Twitter a lot, I'll be honest with you. I'm more like a Facebook and the community tab on YouTube. The reason that I use the community tab is I want to try to filter as much traffic into this space here to get more activity on this channel, because I just feel like if there's more activity on the channel, YouTube tends to push that a little bit more. And obviously, I want to grow. So
on campus,
any
we have a
activity
big
here is always good
application that
activity.
We're going to be monitoring what the weather looks like. We anticipate a large amount of individuals.
I don't have the Twitter app downloaded on my phone. So if you send me like a DM or a PM, probably not going to get it. Best way to reach me is email theopinionatedidiot@gmail.com or through my Facebook page. That's usually where I answer a lot of my quick direct messaging.
That being said, we also have two communities that are just providing beautiful support. There's a candlelight vigil in Boise tonight in honor of our lost students. And there's also a candlelight vigil tonight in Coeur d'Alene. And I say nothing but thank you and for the love and support from those communities that are supporting us. And we've seen that support come across the country and around the world for the University of Idaho and these families. And so it's a beautiful thing.
President Green, can you talk a little bit about the vandal alert that involved the knife and how the university handled it and what you found in that case?
Yeah, so basically we were just responding to the information that we had from the Moscow Police Department at that time. We have an incident response team. We gathered Sunday as we were notified by the Moscow Police Department that there had been a crime committed. At the time, we weren't sure if they were students or not, and we wanted to provide help to the Moscow Police Department, and we think we were able to do that successfully to help them, identify those students and contact their relatives. So, beyond that, it was just trying to understand what the assessment was of the risk to the campus. And we relied on our subject matter experts, as you've heard. They know more than any of us about this, and then based on that, we started making decisions about how to move forward this week.
Yeah, and so what were those decisions around that initial alert? What was the conclusion you had at that point about the level of risk?
Well, of course, your first.
Also, I want to give you guys a little bit of announcement. I'm going to be joining Publicly Buzzed again over on for the first time over on his channel. I've been kind of talking with him. We're going to do a little Idaho 4 on his channel, and I believe that we're going to get together another Beards and Beers with Drunk Turkey show. So it'll be me, Drunk Turkeys, and Publicly Buzzed again as well, because I know that you all loved that show.
On the first vandal alert, it was high risk. We had really no information, and we asked our students to shelter in place, and until we got the all clear, from, well, it wasn't all clear, but a reduced risk where we could where students could start to move around more freely. We had people sheltering in places like the library, and the Pittman Center, and places around campus, and we didn't want to keep them there all night if we didn't have to. And so as soon as Moscow Police Department determined that it was safe for them to begin moving around but be vigilant, we sent the other vandal alerts.
Yeah, my apologies. I was referring to the earlier vandal alert involving the threatening with the knife that happened in September.
Yeah, you want to respond to that? Thank you, Blaine.
So that vandal alert, we had a group of students walking back to Greek Row from a location off campus. They encountered an individual who was not affiliated with the university. They got into, from my understanding, a verbal altercation, and he ended up flashing a knife at them. It was not a stabbing. It was not a stabbing attack. It was a threat, to the best that we know. We sent out a vandal alert warning the individuals of our campus community at that time. I don't have the specific date, but it's out there from that aspect of it. And it's my understanding that
A lot of people with knives out in that area.
individual then later turned himself into law enforcement, and they've addressed what that happens.
So it's not connected in any way to this homicide.
That's a question for law enforcement.
You know who he is.
I know about the incident. I don't know the individual because he's not affiliated with the university. So my understanding, he turned himself into law enforcement. So I can't answer the question of whether he's connected with this or not.
We want to thank you again for coming. That's going to be all the questions we take at this time. We appreciate you coming and spending time with us, and we will continue to put out information as we have time. And we want to reassure the community that the Moscow Police Department and everybody working on this will do everything we can. We love this community. We've a lot of us have went to the University of Idaho, and we are vandals, and we will do everything we can to solve this. Thank you.
All right, so that is the first presser that happened on November 16, 2022. Let me just get my screen back here, normal. Let's go into the second press conference. Let me just look at my notes really quick. We'll pull up the second press conference, and that one happened on November 20th, 2022. Now, again, it's probably going to be a lot of formality that we heard in the beginning of this. Probably be a lot of repetition as what they talk about, but just getting to those questions if they do open to questions. And again, I can't remember because it's been so far back, but I wanted to go back and kind of refresh everybody's minds as to where it started and to where we are now. And I'm going to stretch this out over the next week or two. We'll go back and do all these pressers and kind of analyze it and see how all the evidence came into it, how maybe some things changed, maybe some questionable things that we see or hear. It's always good to go back and refresh our brains. So let's pull up the second presser here. That one again happened on November 20th, 2022. Again, I appreciate everybody for hanging out this Saturday night. I know Saturday nights are usually nights that everybody is out. But I want to appreciate everybody. If there's anybody new in the channel coming in, please make sure to subscribe. I really would appreciate it. Smash that thumbs up button. It pushes this channel out in the algorithm. You guys are amazing. You're always here all the time to hang out and discuss everything Idaho. So let's pull up the second presser here. Again, this is from November 20th, 2022. Here we go.
Good afternoon and welcome. My name is Chief James Fry with the Moscow Police Department. The last spelling of my name is F-R-Y. I'd like to introduce Moscow Police Captain Roger Lanier, Colonel Kedrick Wills of the Idaho State Police, University of Idaho President Scott Green, Dean of Students for the University of Idaho, Blaine Eccles, and Latah County Prosecutor Bill Thompson.
This incident has shaken our community, has continued to shake our community, and we continue to mourn for the victims. We will continue to vigorously pursue the investigation.
Sorry, the audio is so low. It just seems like they have it coming through one speaker, so really have to listen. I gotta listen through one ear for 23 minutes right now.
And pursue justice in this case. It is a complex and terrible crime, and it will take some time to resolve. Today, we want to clarify what we know and where we're at in this investigation. Our primary goal is public safety and to get a completion of this case and bring someone to justice. We continue to dedicate all the resources to this investigation. We've had 646 tips received, and all will be processed.
So at this point, 646 tips.
Vetted, investigated, and cleared. We've done over 90 interviews in this case so far. And the Moscow Police Department is utilizing the assistance from the Idaho State Police, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and the Latah County Sheriff's Office. The personnel that has been assigned to this from the Moscow Police Department is 4 detectives, 24 officers, and 5 support staff. Federal Bureau of Investigators, we have 22 investigators in Moscow. 20 additional are assigned and located in the Treasure Valley, Salt Lake City, Utah, and West Virginia. We have 2.
So what do you say, 20 investigators? But the article 3 days before this or a day before this said there was 25. Let me see.
Federal Bureau of Investigators.
So he did announce it here that on the 20th. I just want to go back. I missed that. I'm sorry.
Police Department is utilizing the assistance from the Idaho State Police, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and Latah County Sheriff's Office. The personnel that has been assigned to this from the Moscow Police Department is 4 detectives, 24 officers, and 5 support staff. Federal Bureau of Investigators, we have 22 investigators in Moscow. 20 additional are assigned and located in the Treasure Valley, Salt Lake City, Utah, and West Virginia. We have 2 behavior analysis individuals from the Federal Bureau of Investigation. For the Idaho State Police, we have 20 investigators, a public information officer. We have 2 behavior analysis individuals.
Sorry, I need to go back and hear
24 officers and 5 support
I got to
staff.
hear where they said all the other investigators were from. What states?
Federal Bureau of Investigators, we have 22 investigators in Moscow, 20 additional.
So there's 22 FBI in Moscow.
Are assigned and located in the Treasure Valley, Salt Lake City, Utah.
Salt Lake City.
And West Virginia.
West Virginia. So there's agents that are assigned to those states as well. Interesting.
We have 2 behavior analysis individuals from the Federal Bureau of Investigation. For the Idaho State Police, we have 20 investigators, a public information officer, ISP forensic services, and a crime scene team. We have 15 uniformed troopers to assist our community.
That's interesting
to help,
that those states
provide the additional resources for our patrols. Detectives are looking to develop any content that would.
Yeah, 42 agents, 22 in Moscow. I forget what he said in Salt Lake City. And then there was a few in West Virginia. That's very interesting.
Help us in this event. Anyone who has observed any notable behavior or has any video surveillance or can provide relevant information about these murders, please call our tip line at 208-883-7180. Or you can email the tip line and that is tipline@ci Moscow.
But the question is, why are those agents in those states? This is something I want to dip into and look. Yeah. Blue Ridge Knives. I was just going to say, I remember something. I was going to say something in the search warrants. Interesting. Interesting stuff. This is what I mean. This is why it's always good to go back. You see things and you hear things that you forget. And that's why we do these streams. This is something that I want to look into a little bit more now.
.id.us. At this time, I would like to introduce Captain Lanier to give you some additional information.
Good afternoon. My name is Roger Lanier. I'm a captain over the Operations Division for the Moscow Police Department. My last name is spelled Lanier. I just want to first state that this tragic murder has shaken the community. It's been very hard for members of the community, and it's been equally.
Wasn't there a bank out of Utah they were looking into? Accounts? Wasn't there bank accounts that they were pulling in Utah in some of the orders to seal?
Difficult for our officers and for the investigators.
Sleuthy, am I right on that?
In the mirror where you're staring back at yourself and you start wondering.
We will continue to put all of our resources towards
Sleuthy might know
investigating
offhand.
and bringing this.
Wasn't
to a
there? There
resolution.
was. I think there was.
Here's what we've determined so far. On
all right,
the
let's listen to
evening
this.
of November 12th, Kaylee Gonsalves and Madison Morgan were at a local bar and were later at a food truck in downtown Moscow. They arrived home at approximately 1:45 a.m. on the morning of November 13th. Ethan Chapin and Xana Kernodle were at the Sigma Chi house before also arriving home at approximately 1:45 a.m. Two surviving roommates were also out in the community, and they returned home at approximately 1 a.m. and did not wake up until later that morning. On the morning of November 13th, at 11:58 a.m., a 911 call was placed to the Whitcomb Dispatch.
I'm gonna rewind. I want to hear that again.
13th.
Let's
Ethan
go back.
Officers and for the investigators. We will continue to put all of our resources towards investigating and bringing this to a resolution. Here's what we've determined so far.
All right, let's listen closely.
On the evening of November 12th, Kaylee Gonsalves and Madison Morgan were at a local bar and were later at a food truck in downtown Moscow. They arrived home at approximately 1:45 a.m. on the morning of November 13th. Ethan Chapin and Xana Kernodle were at the Sigma Chi house before also arriving home at approximately 1:45 a.m. Two surviving roommates were also out in the community, and they returned home at approximately 1 a.m. and did not wake up until later that morning.
Notice how they're not giving the time when they woke up that morning.
On the morning of November 13th, at 11:58 a.m., a 911 call was placed to the Whitcomb Dispatch
Why the 8-hour gap?
Center, reporting an unconscious person. The call originated from inside the residence and was made from the phone of one of the surviving roommates. Moscow Police Department officers responded and located 4 victims, 2 on the second floor and 2 on the third floor. The Latah County coroners conducted autopsies, and detectives have been provided with the results of those autopsies. We know that the autopsies confirmed the identity of the 4 victims, determined the cause and manner of death as homicide by stabbing, and determined that it was likely all 4 victims were asleep during the attack.
Okay, so now they're saying that it was determined at this time on 11/20. They said it was determined that all 4 were asleep. Let's see if that changes as these pressers go on.
Some of
Let's
the
rewind
victims
that
had
real quick.
defensive and 2 on the 3rd floor. The Latah County coroners conducted autopsies, and detectives have been provided with the results of those autopsies. We know that the autopsies confirmed the identity of the 4 victims, determined the cause and manner of death as homicide by stabbing, and determined that it was likely all 4 victims were asleep during the attack. Some of the victims had defensive wounds, and each victim was stabbed multiple times. There was no sign of sexual assault. Investigators have determined 2 areas of interest within the city and have provided maps which are on our Facebook page and on our website. And these are areas that they have canvassed for additional surveillance video and tips, and have contacted several residents in the areas. The areas are generally south of Taylor Avenue to Palouse River Drive and west of Highway 95. Detectives have also canvassed several other neighborhoods looking for evidence, looking for additional surveillance video, and contacting residents and speaking to them to see if they may have heard or seen something. I want to address several areas of speculation, conjecture, and misinformation that has circulated on social media platforms and otherwise. We do not believe the following individuals are involved in this crime: the 2 surviving roommates, a male seen at the grub truck food vendor downtown.
Yep. I don't know about that one. I don't know. There's an 8-hour gap. It's an 8-hour gap in that call to 911. I got some questions. Let's rewind that.
And otherwise. We do not believe the following individuals are involved in this crime: the 2 surviving roommates, a male seen at the grub truck food vendor downtown, specifically wearing a white hoodie, a private party who provided rides home to Kaylee and Madison in the early morning hour of November 13th. Additionally, the identity of the 911 caller and...
All right. Bryan, listen, if you're going to type stuff like that, you need to leave this chat or I'm going to put you in timeout. I don't want that kind of conversation in my chat room. We don't talk about stuff like that here. So I'm going to remove that chat. You've been warned. If I have continuous chat like that, I'm going to boot you out of the room. Not on my channel, bud.
The 911
And
call
stop with the
have
drama
not
in
been
here.
released.
I don't
So
want the
any
drama on my
information
channel.
out There's speculation about that. Investigators are aware that multiple phone calls from Madison and
Moderators,
Kaylee's phone
take care
were
of
made
that.
to a male subject. Any online reports stating that the victims had been tied and gagged are not accurate.
All right, I'm going to rewind. I missed that.
A white hoodie, a private party who provided rides home to Kaylee and Madison in the early morning hour of November 13th. Additionally, the identity of the 911 caller and the 911 call have not been released. So any information out there is speculation about that. Investigators are aware that multiple phone calls from Madison and Kaylee's phone were made to a male subject. Any online reports stating that the victims had been tied and gagged are not accurate. Detectives seized the contents of 3 dumpsters on King Road and searched those dumpsters in an effort to find additional evidence, but nothing of note was discovered.
Hi, everyone. Mark Barden here at Sandy Hook Promise.
All right, that's interesting. I want to go back to
On
that.
December 14th, 2000.
Speculation about that. Investigators are aware that multiple phone calls from Madison and Kaylee's phone were made to a male subject. Any online reports stating that the victims had been tied and gagged are not accurate. Detectives seized the contents of 3 dumpsters on King Road and searched those dumpsters in an effort to find additional evidence, but nothing of note was discovered. Early in the investigation, local businesses were canvassed in an effort to see if any fixed blade type knives may have recently been purchased. And currently, there are no suspects in custody, and we have not located a weapon. I want to assure you that every investigator involved will continue to put all of their resources and all of our partner agencies' resources into continuing this investigation. We do appreciate the community support. We understand how stressful it is, and we will continue to work through this situation. At this time, I would like to turn the mic over to Colonel Wills from the Idaho State Police.
Thank you, Captain. My name is Kedrick Wills, KEDRICKWILLS, and I serve as the Director of the Idaho State Police. And I appreciate your attendance this afternoon as we talk about this horrific, horrific crime. The murders of Ethan, Xana, Madison, and Kaylee are a tragic loss to all of us. Nothing we can do will bring back these young lives. But we have an absolute commitment to working together to solve these senseless murders. And the way that we know how to do that is partnerships. And our partnership with the Moscow Police Department, with the Idaho State Police, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and the University of Idaho to bring this issue to a conclusion and bring this to justice is absolute. We continue with Idaho State Police resources here on the ground in Moscow and throughout Idaho. Whatever the needs are, that's what we want to do. And the chief spoke about the Idaho State Police resources that are here, and he spoke about patrol resources. And we have those uniformed troopers here in Moscow and on the campus of the University of Idaho to help people to feel safe and to provide that security to the people that are here.
Didn't they say a couple of days ago there was no threat? I mean, I could be wrong on that. Am I wrong on that?
Both in the student body as well as in the community at large. And we will continue to do that as long as is necessary throughout this time. In addition, that's in addition to our forensics team that was here, in addition to our investigative team and all the other state police resources. We know that people want answers. We want answers too. As was already mentioned, this is really, really difficult for those investigators, those dedicated professionals who are investigating this crime. And a lot of people have expressed their desire to help. And the best thing that most of people can do to help is to stop with any kind of rumors and just seek official information that comes out of the Moscow Police Department. Anything that we have that we can share from a law enforcement perspective, we will be sharing just as soon as we can, because that's how we think that we can get this to conclusion. Please rely on official sources of information, and please be patient. I understand that everybody wishes that this was solved already, but these things take time. It takes time to work through. You heard the stats of all the tips and everything, the interviews and everything that's been done. This takes time for our investigators to work through. So please be patient as we work through this investigation. We owe this to these young kids, to these young adults. We owe it to them. And we are absolutely dedicated to make sure that that happens. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to introduce the University of Idaho President Scott Green.
Scott Green, President, University of Idaho.
Last name spelled Green, like the color. First, we continue to extend our heartfelt condolences to the families and friends of the victims. As stated earlier, we want justice and appreciate the increased resources from the Idaho State Police and FBI that have been brought to bear on this crime. We fully appreciate and share the frustration of our students, employees, parents, and community members who continue to push for answers. While we wait for answers in the investigation, we've ramped up our security safety practices and are listening to students and supporting them in any way possible. The University of Idaho's primary focus now is on supporting our students and working to meet their varied needs. The police continue.
Okay, so I thought he said there was no threat to the community. Thank you for clarifying that. I thought that he said there was no threat. So they're still saying there was a threat to the community right now. Okay, thank you, AZ. Thanks for saying that.
Continue to inform
I
us
was
that
wrong
they
on
believe
that.
this was a targeted attack. But we recognize this is not good enough for some of our students who will want to complete their semester remotely until the person who committed the crime is in custody. We are
Yeah,
also
guy's a
hearing that
dick.
some students want to be back on campus and in Moscow because they gain comfort from the structure of classes and being with their friends and professors. All reactions and feelings are valid, and we all process these tragedies differently. We're asking instructors to plan for both sets of students as we finish the semester. We will be communicating decisions early this week so that families can discuss and plan their individual response over the Thanksgiving break. We learned a lot during COVID, and we have many course delivery options our faculty can deploy to meet.
I think the thing that pissed me off is that this guy was so quick to want to tear down the King Road residence after it was donated. And I had a lot of problems with that because if this goes to trial, you need that jury to go to that house and see it and feel that environment inside of that house, feel the close quartersness of how that house feels, feel the vibrations of that house, to see down those hallways, to see how close those rooms were, to see how close that back door was, to see up onto that second floor where the other two victims were. It would be such a tragic thing if that house was demolished, and it's all in the name of crushing this house, erasing the memory as quick as you can, so more students and more people will continue to pour money into this university, and to build this memorial so people will come out and visit it and bring money into that community. It's a very disgusting thing. I have a problem with that, and I'm glad that that has been stopped now. And an order has been put in place that this will be halted because they need this for the trial. It is the most important, one of the most important pieces of evidence for this trial.
Student needs. Student and employee safety remain our priority. We have increased security patrols on campus since we were notified of this off-campus incident. We've also benefited from increased Idaho State Police presence on our campus, which we are grateful for. They have been a very visible force, and they will continue this dedicated presence on our campus into the foreseeable future. Importantly, they have also assigned resources to the community since this crime occurred off campus. In addition to the campus-wide precautions being taken, we offer the following safety and security features in our residence halls. We will continue our Safe Walk, available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All residence halls are locked 24 hours a day and only accessible by students that live in the building.
Most people don't get to have 30 dogs at one time legally. Promise for Paws is.
All guests must be accompanied by a resident of the building. Each residential community has a dedicated resident assistant staff and a live-in full-time resident director to help ensure a safe environment. Every evening, there are resident assistants that are on duty to perform safety and security rounds in their area, including during fall break. Housing and Resident Life always has at least 2 full-time staff members that are on call to provide support.
I do. I think they will.
24 hours a day.
I do.
Including
very, 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 very important environment to walk through. 1000% they will do a walkthrough of that area
over the fall break. And our learning center information desk
is Living and Learning Center Information Desk is open 24 hours a day and will be open all of fall break for our students' needs. While we certainly hope there's a swift closure with the arrest of whoever is responsible for this crime, we must also be prepared for all the possibilities, including a lengthy investigation. We must balance safety concerns and the need to grieve, along with the long-term needs of our students and our employees. We're making security our top priority. We are also planning for the very real possibility that some students aren't comfortable returning to campus. We will do our best to meet the needs of all students. Our faculty is working hard over the break to consider alternative delivery methods. We will also continue making counseling services available.
Let's do this. AZ, I'm not going to bet you $100, but if you're right, I'll donate $100 to the Rhode Island Food Bank. I'll mark my word on it right now. I'll do it live on one of my chats, and I'll do $100 donation to the Rhode Island Food Bank. All right, so you can do that, and then I don't know. You can we'll work something out. You can super chat me or something like that. But I'll donate $100 to the Rhode Island Food Bank if they don't walk through. So mark my word on that. Just remind me, because I do a lot of streams. I'm going to forget. And I know you will hold me to this because you and I have conversations, but I'll do this. I'll do $100 to the Rhode Island Food Bank. I will donate that money. All right. So if you want to we'll do a virtual shake on it. And then however you want to, if they do the walkthrough, you can super chat me or something like that. Fair is fair. Just let me know in the chat. Or if you want to donate $100, how about this? I donate $100 to the food bank if I'm wrong, and you donate $100 to the Rhode Island Food Bank if you're whatever. You know what I mean. Look at this. All right, cool. That's what I meant. We'll set it up so it's all validated and stuff like that. I know you're good with your word. You and I have a lot of conversations through email. But I know you're a good dude. So, but I don't want money myself. We'll donate it to people that need it. Or maybe we'll do something for Moscow. We can donate maybe to the food bank out there. How about that? That's better. Let's do Moscow Food Bank. If they have one, I'll figure it out when we get close to it. And if I'm wrong, I will donate it live on air. I have no problem doing that. And then we'll figure out something with you. All right. Spit and shake. Awesome. Good deal. Good deal. Let's give back to the community. They need it.
For all our students and employees as we process our grief. The care and concern for our Vandal family is our primary role, and we take that very seriously. We are a Vandal family. Nothing means more to us than family. And I'd also like to just thank all those for the great outpouring of support we've received from the nation. It's been incredible time, and all those who stand in solidarity with us, just know it means a great deal to us. Thank you.
No, I'm not giving to the university. We're going to give it to the food bank.
So we're going to open it up at this time to about 8 to 10 questions. We ask that only one question is asked per person.
All right, let's do that. All right, let's listen to the questions. This is important. And again, as we see it now, we're on the 20th. So you're like a week out from the murders. We're getting a little bit more information in the beginning of the pressers, and now we're going to see what kind of questions they ask. So
please. And I would also like to just see if there's an Argonaut reporter here. I think
they walked the crime scene in the Murdoff murders, didn't they? They walked the crime scene of the Murdoff murders.
Fair to give.
It's not as rare as you think.
Reporter the first shot.
What was the Netflix documentary, The Staircase? They went to that house. That guy was living in there. They went and walked the crime scene. It's not as rare as you think.
Speak up if you're in the room, if you're from the Argonaut.
Are you from the University of Idaho Argonaut? Is anybody from the
I
university?
need 9 more likes just to get to 100. It'd be really appreciated if you guys can go down and just smash that like button. Once we get to 100 likes, this pushes this stream out into the algorithm, and this channel can grow, and then this community can grow. So I really appreciate it.
Idaho Argonaut? Okay.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Ted Williams, Fox News. You all have said that these killings are targeted. Can you share with us why you believe they are targeted killings? And do you know who, if any, of the victims were the actual targets of the killings?
As we stated earlier in the previous press release, our press.
All right, we got a recognition. We got a recognition. Cranky has been a channel member and supporter. And unfortunately, on StreamYard, it doesn't let me pull this up. But Cranky says we're recognizing his 1 month membership. He says, let's pray for the right verdict is made. And absolutely. And the thing is I've always said this on my channel. Yes, Bryan Kohberger is arrested, the alleged killer in these crimes, but he has his due process in court. He is still innocent until proven guilty. I've always said that on this channel. But let's recognize Cranky. I just got a loud bike that just drove by. I don't know if you can hear that. Let's recognize Cranky, the channel membership. All right, let's keep playing through.
Press conference. We believe they're targeted because we take a totality of all the circumstances that we're looking at. Do we know any one person that it was targeted? We're not able to say at this point in time due to our investigation, but we still believe that. But we, like I said, we take a totality of everything that we're looking at.
Excuse me.
Chief Glenn Mosley, Idaho Public Radio here in Moscow. On the resources, do you have the resources that you need?
We do have the resources. It is an incredible outpouring of what we received from the Idaho State Police and from the Federal Bureau of Investigations and Latah County. Anything we ask for is given. So at any time, if we need additional, all I have to do is call the colonel, and he will provide that. He's already guaranteed me that, and I know the FBI has said the same thing.
I got you, homie.
Hi, Emma Epperly from the Spokesman Review. I know you've said you're not going to release who the 911 caller was, but was the killer the 911 caller?
Let's hear the 911 call. Oh, this is an interesting question. Let's hear the answer to this. Let's back that up a little bit.
I know you've said you're not going to release who the 911 caller was, but was the killer the 911?
All right, hang on one second. I think Amber's going to gift a membership, and then we'll go back and listen to this question. Wow, this is a lot of informative information. I'm so glad that we decided to go back and do this. Like I said, it's always good to go back to the beginning. We hear things, we see things that we might have forgot about, or maybe some new things come into our mind to think about. So Amber, I think, is getting ready to gift a membership. We are at 100 likes. I'm going to take these headphones off for a second. I need to get some wireless ones. I would love to have wireless headphones. So we'll see if that's going to take place here. Oh, my ear is killing me. All right, let's see. So we have a gifted membership from Amber. It says, Jacqueline Lore is now a channel member. So you know what we got to do for that, gang. We know what we do. We play the tone. We play the tone.
I got you, homie.
Bing, bing, bong, bong, bing, bing, bing.
All right, let's keep playing through. All
Hi,
right.
Emma Epperly from the Spokesman Review. I know you've said you're not going to release who the 911 caller was, but was the killer the 911 caller?
I will tell you no.
Okay.
If you want to be.
All right, let's take a pause here. We have a commercial. Cranky One has gifted a membership. MRG is now a new channel member. I love the love here. Let's do it.
I got
Bing, bing, bong, bong, bing, bing, bing.
All right. Let's
Be
play
healthier,
through.
you've got to get
Thank you,
Kachava.
Cranky One. So generous.
I started
of you.
Kachava a month ago.
Uh-oh.
Actually, if we could just go to this one first. So what I'll say to that is it was made from the roommate's call or phone, excuse me. And we're not going to divulge who made that call it's part of our investigation still. And when we get ready to release that, we will.
Hi, Christina Corbin.
And they never released it. They never released it. Let's go back to that really quick. I know that that question was very hard to hear. I have to take my headphones off for a second because my ear is killing me. So I'm going to listen through my regular speakers. Okay, let's listen to that. It's asked about the 911 call. Who made the 911 call? Did the roommate make the call on a roommate's phone, or can you verify? And they're asking, did the roommate make the call on a roommate's phone? Let's listen.
The roommate made the call. So, did the roommate make the call on a roommate's phone, or can you verify it was another addition?
Actually, if we could just go to this one first. So what I'll say to that is it was made from the roommate's call or phone, excuse me. And we're not going to divulge who made that call it's part of our investigation still. And when we get ready to release that, we will.
And they never released it.
Hi, Christina Corbin with Fox News. The male subject whom the women called, has he been ruled?
I think it's important because if there's any other people that were there, it places a person at the scene as well. If you hear other voices in the background, if you hear other people that may have picked up the phone and spoke as well. So that's why it's very important to know who was on that call, who was in and around the area of that call, who might have been in the background of that call. Because the issue is we have an 8-hour gap until those victims were killed, until that 911 call was made. That's a big problem in my book. I need to know every single person that was at that house that evening and the next day. That's why it's important. Sorry, I'm losing my voice.
Ruled out as a suspect or person of interest?
Everything that we have taken from those calls, we have followed up on, we've cleared, and we believe that there's no connection there.
Gotti Schwartz, NBC News. Just following up on the 911 call, you said that you don't believe that's the killer. Can you conclusively rule out the person that called 911 from inside the home as a suspect in this case?
Can you go ahead and just ask that one more time, please?
The person that was inside the home that called 911 that was not one of the roommates. Can you conclusively rule that person out as a suspect at this point?
I don't think I said that it wasn't one of the roommates. I said that it was used with the.
So Tsunami is saying, Brian, yep, my 911 call had so much going on. Didn't realize until the 20th time I reheard it and heard it to notice. Exactly. Yeah, a lot of things can happen during a 911 call. A lot of things can be said. A lot of things can be heard.
The roommate's phone.
I mean, why do you think we're all chomping at the bit to hear it?
Somebody asked if that was the killer and you said no.
No, that's correct.
Okay, I'm going to back this up because this is getting really interesting. It's getting a little hot right now. So let's listen again.
Can you conclusively rule that person out as a suspect at this point?
I don't think I said that it wasn't one of the roommates. I said that it was used with the roommate's phone.
I believe somebody asked if that was the killer and you said no.
No, that's correct.
So this reporter said there was someone there other than the two roommates when the police responded. So that information had been leaked out. Let's play this again.
It was used with the roommate's phone.
I believe somebody asked if that was the killer and you said no.
No, that's correct.
I'm sorry. She asked, was there someone there? Was there someone else there besides the two roommates that responded? Let's hear what Fry says.
So will you clarify that for me?
You're not confirming
There was other friends that had arrived at the location. Honestly, I'm not quite sure at this time, to be quite honest.
Do you guys have any idea if the killer's still within the community, or are you looking outside the community for the killer in terms of their physical location?
We are looking everywhere that evidence would lead us. I can't say if the person's here. I can't say what community the person's in. We're utilizing every resource we can to make that location of that individual. And part of that is the safety of our community is paramount. And that's why we brought in the resource that we brought in to keep our community as safe as we can.
Being so close to the border, does that make it kind of automatically an interstate investigation? Can you comment on that?
I cannot comment on that. I'm not even aware.
If you look in Washington at all, I guess.
We're looking everywhere. I'm going to take 2 more questions.
Do you still believe this attack was done by one perpetrator? And if so, how does one individual kill 4 people at night and not wake up the other 2 roommates?
Our investigation will continue to look at all avenues.
Hang on one second. Okay, sorry, I had to answer someone.
News of that investigation. I cannot disclose any of that information. I don't even know that information at this point in time, and that's why we're continuing to investigate.
You don't know how this happened without the other 2 roommates hearing it or waking up or noticing?
We do not. One more question.
Hi, Angela Palermo, Idaho Statesman. In the press release,
Listen, Samantha brings up a good point. She says, I'm confused about the gap too. You would think Ethan and Xana would be screaming. So why was the 911 not called? So here's the thing. I talked about this in my video the other day, and I still have a lot of issues going back with this 8-hour time gap. So, all right, let's talk about this really quick. You have a loud thud. You have a dog barking. You have other things that were picked up on a neighbor's camera. Audio was picked up in the neighbor's camera 1 house over. So if the noise was that loud to be picked up on the next door neighbor's security camera, the audio, I can only imagine what it sounded like inside that house. Why, if you are a surviving roommate, would you not come out and check what is going on? So you have this loud commotion. You're hearing thuds up on the 2nd floor, thinking that it's the dog running around. All that commotion's going on inside. And then all of a sudden, someone walks past you that you've never seen in your entire life with a black mask on, clad in black, someone that you don't notice, scares the shit out of you enough for you to run back in your room in this frozen shock phase, and you're going to lock your door and just not get up 8 hours later. All goes quiet. After all that commotion in the house, all goes quiet, and you're not going to check on anybody. You're not going to come out of your room. If she probably would have came out and took a few steps out in the room, and I showed this the other night on the diagram of the house, and took a quick right, Ethan would have been 10 feet from her, laying halfway in the door and on the hallway. A lot of issues. And if you haven't seen my video, I'm going to drop the link there. You can check it out. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. I just tend to lose my voice on these lives. Let me find my video here. I'll drop it in the chat. If you want to go back and watch it after stream, please do give it a thumbs up and a like. And if you want to leave a comment, but great comment. All right, let's keep playing through.
yesterday you confirmed that the victims were found on the second and third floors of the home. Can you say which of the victims were found where?
Excuse me.
I'm not going to go ahead and disclose that information. They were found on the second and third floor. And that's as far as we're going to go with that part of the investigation too, because all those key pieces do come to play later. So we do thank you. We thank you for meeting with us. We thank you for
Time to bounce.
helping get information out. And I can assure you, we will continue to work hard. We will continue to do everything we can to solve this. So thank you.
Is this related to any animal mutilation?
Do you think if there's 4 bodies that are laying inside that house, that drugs should be an issue or something to worry about at that time? I don't. I'd probably want to clear my name pretty fucking quick. Really quick. Really quick. I didn't do this. This is not me. I'd be calling right away if it was me to clear my name. All right, so that was the second presser. Let's go into the third. You guys want me to keep going? Because I can keep streaming. I got a little bit more time. Let me know. Give me a 1 in the chat or a 2 in the chat. 1 if you want me to keep streaming, I can do that. Or 2 if you want me to stop, and then we can come back to this. Again, we're going to keep doing these probably for the next week or 2. So let me know. 1 to keep streaming, 2 to stop. We're at the 2-hour mark. 1. I got a couple of 1s. All right, we'll keep streaming. It looks like everybody wants to keep going. Okay. All right. Let's do this. We're going to look at the third presser. 11/23/22 from Moscow Police. I already fast forwarded what I needed to. Let me pull that up. And then I'm going to pull this up. And I'm going to do this. If you can give me about a 2-second break, I need to use the restroom. And then we'll play through this. I'll be right back. Hang on, guys. I'll be right back. Okay.
13th at 11:58 a.m., a 911 call was placed.
With these 4, creating a murder investigation.
Getting the latest from the University of Idaho murders from officials in Moscow.
With the Moscow Police Department. Joining me today is Captain Roger Lanier with the Moscow Police Department, Moscow Deputy City Supervisor Tyler Palmer, Colonel Kedrick Wills of the Idaho State Police, University of Idaho President Scott.
We got a $2 super chat from Jacqueline Lohr. She said, right on. Thank you for a great show. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate you so much. Thank you for that super chat. Thank you. Thank you. All right, let's keep playing through here. Here we go.
Green, University of Idaho Dean of Students Blaine Eccles, and Latah County Prosecutor Bill Thompson. We are thankful for all the tips.
Don't let anybody fool you. I was the first one to go back. So if they all start going back on the true crime channels, It was tonight. It was me. Don't let them fool you. I started doing this first. I'm getting that out there. No one has done this.
Kaylee, and Madison's murder investigation. No bit of information is too small, and every tip will be pursued. So far, this information has helped investigators build a picture of the areas of interest and Steven. The relationships these four had with each other and our community. We still believe there's more information to be gathered.
Yeah, Annie, yeah, Amber, I saw it. Looks a little Photoshoppy to me. I'll have to look at it again, but a quick look at it looks a little Photoshoppy. The Stephen clip comes from the Stephen McDaniel interrogation. I have when he was being interrogated, that one, and then the Steven. All right, let's keep playing through. Let's not get distracted.
Which will continue creating a window through which we view this case. We all want to understand why this happened and what drove someone to do this. The families of those involved and our entire community deserve to know. We ask anyone with any information related to what happened with these four who are in our community, their interaction with others, and whether they expressed concern or commented about someone or something strange, to get that information to us. Even if you don't believe it is relevant, investigators will review and determine if and how your information builds the picture. Sometimes what a video or picture doesn't show is equally as important as what might be there. Information on how to submit tips and updates on the investigation can be found on the Moscow Police Department webpage. We continue moving forward to understand why this occurred in our community and seek answers to bring justice for the victims and their loved ones, because they deserve it. I personally want you to know we care, and we will continue to work hard to get these answers for these individuals. At this time, I'd like to introduce Captain Roger Lanier for an update on what we can currently share about this investigation.
No,
Good
I
afternoon.
don't.
I'm Captain Roger Lanier with the Moscow Police Department. I want to assure you first off that the loss of Xana, Kaylee, Madison, and Ethan remains the highest priority for the Moscow Police Department. We will continue putting all of our resources into investigating and solving these murders. Investigators are prepared to work through the Thanksgiving holiday to continue their efforts. I also want to express our sincere appreciation to the Idaho State Police, the FBI, University of Idaho, and the Latah County Sheriff's Office for their assistance. And I especially want to thank the community of Moscow for their outpouring of support through this incredibly difficult time. Today, I'm going to recap in brief what we know.
So I just want to bring this up. Samantha said that she's asking who said someone's here. And it hasn't been quite confirmed, but we do know that in Dylan Mortenson's statement, she said that she thought that she heard someone said, "I'm here to help you." And I think that she misheard that, if that's even a word. I think what she probably heard was, "I'm here to kill you."
No, I'm going to provide some new information.
Someone's here.
Some rumors.
Could have been Xana, Kaylee, or Maddie. But I would think it would probably Xana, because it would be closer to Dylan Mortenson's room.
On the evening of November 12th,
Or
and
Ethan.
into the early morning hours of November 13th, Kaylee and Madison arrived home at approximately 1:45 a.m. after visiting a local bar and a street food vendor. Ethan and Xana were also out in the community at
And
Sigma Chi
subscribe.
and they arrived home at approximately 1:45 a.m. 2 surviving roommates who were also out in the community arrived home at approximately 1 a.m. Later, on the morning of November 13th at 11:58 a.m., a 911 call was placed. The call reported an unconscious person. The call originated from inside the residence, and a surviving roommate's cell phone was used. During that call, the dispatcher spoke to multiple people who were on scene. Moscow.
Yeah, it's the same story, but it's going to get a little bit clearer as you go along. And I said that it's going to be, presses are usually like that, and then they'll take questions, but the story evolves. It gets a little bit clearer, and you can see, from the very first presser how it was up to now. It's getting a little bit clearer to what is being put out there.
Police officers responded and found 2 victims, 2 on the 2nd floor and 2 on the 3rd floor of 1122.
You see, Tsunami, how the story is being evolved. A little bit more information is being put out.
The results of autopsies indicated that the 4 were stabbed multiple times and were likely asleep during the attack. Some had defensive wounds, and there was no sign of sexual assault. We do not believe.
So it said some had defensive wounds. I only heard that Xana had defensive wounds, and I could be wrong on that. So they're saying some had defensive wounds.
The following individuals were involved.
I got to recognize the super chat. I got a $10 super chat from Christine Brown. She said, no pressure, but you get the new mugs yet? Yes, your mug is on the way. It has to be made. And I said that it would get just directly sent to you. So it is on its way. If anybody wants to order a mug, they can go down below in the comment section. It has my products there that showcased, and you can purchase a mug directly through Spring. Now, I will say this, the mugs are great. I ordered a sample t-shirt back in February. I still have not got it. So I'm very unsatisfied with the Spring service. So if Spring, you're hearing this, your website sucks and you need to fix it, because I want my fans and my customers of my merchandise to get it on time. And I haven't even got a sample yet. So yeah, shout out to Spring if you want to sponsor me on the stream. So I'm a little upset about that, but the mugs actually seem like they come pretty quick. So Christine, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. You know that it goes to the channel to support. But yeah, your mug is coming. All right, let's keep playing through.
Involved. The 2 surviving roommates. The male seen in a grub truck video circulating on the internet. A private party who drove Kaylee and Madison home. Any of the individuals who spoke to the dispatcher on the 911 call. We're also aware of a male whom Madison and Kaylee had called several times the morning of November 13th, and we do not suspect that individual. Detectives have canvassed the neighborhoods looking for evidence, physical evidence, video surveillance, and they've contacted numerous residents to see if anybody may have seen or heard anything. They continue requesting tips that can be sent to our tip line or called in to our tip line. The specific areas that we're interested in are detailed on maps on our city website and our Facebook page, but as stated earlier, generally south of Taylor Avenue to Palouse River Drive and the area west of US 95 over to the Arboretum. We have heard mention that Kaylee stated she may have had a stalker. Detectives have been looking into that, and to this point have been unable to corroborate the statement, although we continue to seek information and tips regarding that report. No suspects have been named or arrested, and we continue looking for what we believe to be a fixed blade knife used in the murders. We have not released the names of any of the subjects who spoke on the 911 call, and we have not released the call itself. Any online reports of the victims being tied and gagged are not accurate.
Where was that coming from? I never heard of any of that before. That's really interesting. Leanne with a $5 super chat said, "This is so great to go back and see this again and try to get a better understanding of everything." Leanne, thank you so much. I thought this was very good to go back. And like I said, it's you're hearing things again that we might have forgot because so much time has gone by. And I'm hearing, I just said it. I don't remember hearing the victims' rumor of them being bound and gagged. I didn't hear of that. So I'm hearing a lot of new things, or just maybe remembering a lot of things that I haven't heard. So yeah, I think this is a very a good thing to go back. I'm going to continue this theme through the rest of the week. Don't let any of the other true crime channels fool you, because I started doing it first. But I think this is a good thing to go back and do this. And of course, when I say that kind of stuff, I'm just joking. But yeah, I thought this would be a very helpful thing to do, to kind of refresh all our brains to see where we came from and where we're at. So of course we have to recognize the super chat.
Great cash, homie. I got you, homie.
All right, let's keep playing through.
Regarding the resources that we've put forth in this investigation, the Moscow Police Department has 4 detectives, 24 patrol officers, and 5 support staff dedicated to this investigation. The FBI has 22 investigators in Moscow and 20 additional agents assigned in various locations, as well as 2 members of the Behavioral Analysis Unit.
Gina Marie.
The Idaho State Police has 20 investigators, a public information team, a forensic services and crime scene team, and 15 uniformed troopers who have been valuable in helping provide community patrols and safety patrols. We very much appreciate their support. This is our highest priority. It will remain our highest priority. We owe that to the families.
Oh, wow.
At this time, I
Diane,
would like
what?
to introduce Colonel Kedrick Wills.
Oh, geez. Wow. I hope you're feeling better. That's awful. I hope you're all right. Gee, get better. Wow.
From the Idaho State Police.
Thank you, Captain, and thank you for those that are in attendance today for your attendance. We really appreciate this. What has affected Moscow and the community here has affected all of us as Idahoans. We have a way in Idaho that the communities come together in tough times, and this is one of those tough times. Leads from the—
What the hell was that heavy thing they were carrying out? That dude was struggling with it. Let's go back and look at that.
Here
Down in that
has
right-hand
affected all of
corner.
us as Idahoans. We have—
All right, let's recognize this membership. Chosen Rosen has gifted a membership, and Sis is now a channel member, and you know that we all do this.
I got you, homie.
Thank you, Chosen Rosen. You're the best.
have a way in Idaho that the communities come together in tough times, and this is one of those tough times. Leads from the community are important, and as the captain spoke, no tip is too small, and we would urge anybody that has any information whatsoever to please provide that to help us solve this case. The lead agency of this case is Moscow Police Department with Chief Fry and his dedicated team of professionals, and the Idaho State Police's role is to support them and their good work here. There is an awful lot of efforts going on behind the scenes, and I'll explain why it's behind the scenes in just a moment. But what can't be seen isn't always known of what we do in law enforcement, and I'd like to explain that in just a moment. But the Idaho State Police and the FBI continue to provide resources to this investigation. I would like to speak for just a moment, if I could, not about this specific case, but rather an overview of how cases are investigated, so that maybe it'll give some sense of the why of the timeline here. We understand you want answers. We want answers too. But these take time, and if I could explain just a minute about the process here of what we go through just generally in investigations. So we use in advanced investigative techniques and crime scene processing. So what happens when a call comes in,
This is not recent. We're doing a rewind, JBs. We're doing a rewind. This is the presser from 11/23/22. If you want to go back and watch the first two pressers from the Moscow, Idaho police, we're starting way back from the beginning and going all the way up to the timeline as to where we are now.
original officers, the first officers that respond to a scene, and then once that they've got their work there and determined that they need some additional investigative assistance, then they call investigators to come and help process that scene. And oftentimes it requires a forensics team to help process that scene. And when I say process the scene, what we're looking for is we're looking for any evidence that may help us to be able to find the people or person responsible for what we're seeing. And so we're collecting biological evidence, we're collecting latent evidence, whether it's shoe prints or tire marks or anything like that. We're trying to
No tire marks have been mentioned.
collect that evidence. We're trying to correct, we do that through photographs, we do that through 3D mapping to be able to map the scene. We identify and we mark evidence, and then we collect that evidence. And then we look for any evidence that we think may be helpful. And once that is done, then we package all that evidence up and we send it off to forensics laboratories to be analyzed to see if it can help provide clues of what's happening. All of this takes an immense amount of time. The reason this is important to understand is because it's important that while this is such a tragic circumstance that we find ourselves in law enforcement, we believe we owe this to the surviving families to get this right. And so we're not willing to sacrifice speed for quality. We do testing for blood, we do latent print processing, any documentations for anything at the scene so that we can reconstruct that scene at a later date. If I could share just a few statistics of this particular crime scene. At this crime scene, we collected 103 pieces of individual evidence.
We'll write that down.
We took approximately 4,000 photographs. We've conducted multiple 3D scans of the residence, and we have hundreds of hours used by technicians and investigators, including our forensics team and detectives from multiple agencies. We've processed over 1,000 total tips and conducted 150 interviews. I hope that you understand that gives a little bit of a perception of just how complex this case is. We have the utmost confidence in this investigation and that this investigation will be done right. We ask you and we ask the public to please remain patient as this investigation unfolds. And please rely on official sources of information. We really appreciate the media's assistance. We know you have a job to do. We know that you're professionals and you do it to the best of your ability. And we're thankful that you're here, because without you, we could not get the correct information to the community that could help us solve this. So I can't overemphasize how much.
Let's recognize this new member. Timmy Lund has become a new member. I want to appreciate all your contribution. I thank you so much for becoming a channel member of the channel. We'll give him the new member. Thank you so much.
I got you, homie. Steven.
We sneak that one in. How about we do this one?
Bing, bing, bong, bong, bing, bing, bing.
Let's get them all in.
How dare you? Come on, man. You are fake news. Liar.
All right. We got to get those out.
I appreciate and we
Thank you
appreciate
so much.
in law enforcement your willingness to do this. What you are doing matters. And it matters in what we are committed to doing, and that is the best way we can think of to honor these victims and their families is to conduct this investigation.
All right, so what we're going to do and what I'm going to do is I'm going to play through these first three pressers tonight, and then I'm going to stream tomorrow night at my regular time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we're going to come back, and I have three more that we're going to play, and then we're just going to keep continuing through the week. Again, my schedule will be a little wonky this week because I do have some personal things that will go on. I think instead of Tuesday night, I'm going to stream on that Wednesday night, and I will be back for Thursday as well. But I'm going to finish this one out. We get about another 20 minutes on this presser. And then tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, come back because I'm going to play the presser from 12:28. We'll go through that one, 12:30 and 12:31. The 12:28 is going to be the month-long gap of the follow-up. You have the BK arrest on the 30th presser, and then the day after when they interview Fry. So we're going to go through that on tomorrow night's stream. You're not going to want to miss that. So let's finish this one up, guys
correctly.
and ladies. Oof, I always say that.
Finally, I'd like to share that I've been in regular contact with Idaho's Governor Brad Little throughout this investigation. Governor Little is making available up to $1 million for expenses related to this ongoing investigation. As you heard,
There's not much
resources
out
that are
there.
here in
I mean,
Moscow.
Ethan's family did that one interview for about 15 or 20 minutes, and that's it. Not much about Xana out there.
And throughout with this investigation.
But I'll find what I can find, and we can go through it because we're going to go all the way from the beginning, all the way up to the present. Don't worry. I'll put some shows together.
You can see that those expenses would add up quickly. Like all Idahoans, Governor Little is deeply saddened by the loss of these 4 bright and promising young lives. And he's making sure the state of Idaho provides all of the resources possible to ensure that the person or persons responsible for this are brought to justice.
Oh, by the way, I'm working on doing some of those arm bracelets that are kind of like what was it, the Live Strong bracelets. It's going to say the opinionated idiot on it, and then on the backside it's going to say official idiot. So I'm probably going to get those made up. I'll probably have them for sale for a couple bucks if anybody wants to buy them. And then like channel members, I'll probably give you, I'll probably do something like a special thing for channel members or something. But I'm going to do those bracelets. I just got to get them made up. So say like the opinionated idiot on it, and on the back it's going to say like official idiot on it. So we'll do some of those. No, not slap bracelets. Those Live Strong ones. Slap bracelet would be way too much. It would be way too much to make.
And now I'd like to turn the time over to the University of Idaho President Scott Green.
Good afternoon. I'm Scott Green, President of the University of Idaho. We deeply appreciate the kind words of support we have been receiving from our alumni and friends, as well as.
So I do have stickers available. I'll pull up the link if you want to get one. And I'm probably going to go through another distributor, and I'm going to be redesigning some. I want to bring on a graphic artist to design them. But here's the... Whoa, my chat's going a little wacky up there. Here's the link if you want to check that out. All right, let's keep playing through here.
Many others who may not know us but have taken time to reach out. People are donating to the victims' GoFundMe pages and the Bruce Pittman Fund for Students in Need. And they're buying personal devices for our students and continuing to look for other ways that they can help. This is what it means to be a vandal. In the last 24 hours, we have sent updated communications to our students, employees, parents, and alumni.
I know, I just realized that.
And in those
I'll get the link
communications, we
to
discuss
the
campus
sticker.
security, services available to our students and employees, our plans for both remote and live instruction to close the semester, and our plans for a candlelight vigil on November 30. All of this is available on our website. We all want swift justice and continue to work with law enforcement to aid them in any way helpful to their investigation. As the investigation continues, we will better know
Stickers
how to
are here.
proceed in the new year. We will endeavor to find the balance among safety concerns, the need to grieve, and the long-term needs of all of our
Coffee
students
cups
and
are here. These are super popular right
through
now.
everything we do, we will keep Kaylee, Madison, Xana, and Ethan, as well as their families and friends, in our thoughts.
I got to do a redesign on the mug soon.
I'm sorry, I need to introduce Deputy City Supervisor Tyler Palmer. Tyler, sorry.
Good afternoon. My name is Tyler Palmer. I'm Deputy City Supervisor with the City of Moscow.
And I'm here today on behalf of Mayor Arthur Betke, the Moscow City Council, and Moscow City Administration. The loss of Kaylee, Madison, Dana, and Ethan has sent an overwhelming, palpable wave of grief, confusion, sorrow, and anger through our peaceful community. Mayor Betke, with the support of our City Council, has instructed staff to marshal all necessary resources for our law enforcement professionals as they diligently work to assure the safety of every member of this community and find the person or people responsible for this. The outpouring of support, kindness, and genuine empathy locally and even globally has been a humbling reminder that those who want to help far outnumber those who want to hurt. And we take some solace in that. To all of you who've reached out, sent letters and cards, provided food for those working around the clock on this investigation, and offered other resources, we thank you sincerely. These continued acts of charity and humanity remind us why we live in this tight-knit, caring community. The City of Moscow is committed to seeing this investigation through to a successful end and will continue to dedicate whatever resources are necessary for that effort. We are thankful for the immense support from the University of Idaho, Latah County, Governor Little and his office, the Idaho State Police, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Moscow is my home. And I know we won't be defined by tragedy, but how we respond to it. We mourn the loss of these beautiful young people, and we will relentlessly pursue justice on their behalf. Thank you.
So we would like to open it up to any questions, but I would like to ask.
All right, here we go. Questions.
If there's an Argonaut reporter here that would like to ask, and then second after that, an Evergreen reporter, if there's one in the room. So let's start with the Argonaut, please.
I'm with the LCC Pathfinder.
Timmy says, I like the show. This is better than Tyler Ferris' Christ on Cracker show and Christ on a Bike. I said the word ass and Tyler flipped. So I flipped on him why he was doing Moscow Idaho 4Ks. Yeah. I'm not gonna speak on that, but yeah. Brian, you do opposite of Public Trump. They have 0 mods. Yeah, I mean, it's his channel, you know. Everybody does their own thing for their own channel, you know. Here's you know, I read a mission statement a while back. The thing is that here on Opinionated Idiot, what I have to do is do what's best for me, for my subscribers, for my viewers, my team, my supporter. I am here to serve all of you. That's why you come here to watch me. And that's why I want active feedback in what I do. If there's something that I'm doing, material that I'm doing, or, you know, you got to let me know, because if I don't want you all to go away, I want more people to come in. But my job as a YouTuber and an entertainer is to entertain you, to serve you as basically the client. If you're a paid member or a subscriber here, you're a client. You know, it's I enjoy doing this, and I enjoy seeing all of you here. I enjoy seeing all of the faces and all the familiar names and my mods and my subscribers. That's why I do this. Again, my channel is not going to be as analytic as maybe Drunk Turkey. My channel is not going to be as deep diving, you know, maybe some of those conspiracy theories as Publicly Drunk. What you're going to get here is a regular guy kind of doing water cooler talk. And it's the stuff that you would talk about with your friends. I don't get everything right. I'm not perfect. But I try to analyze and give it back from my perspective. And a lot of you connect here. That's why you come here. And I appreciate that. And this channel is growing, and I want it to grow. And if I can reach more people, that's what I want to do. You know, I worry about my channel, and I worry about my channel first, and I worry about my people here first. If I choose to do something with someone else, I'm very selective in the people that I work with. I have an amazing relationship with the Drunk Turkey Show. I've talked about that 100 million times. I've kind of burnt that out. Publicly Buzz, Steve and his brother over there, we've been communicating a lot. I really like his vibe. He's a good dude. I'll do things with them, but I'm very selective of who I work with. And I'm very selective, you know, in the channels that I would go on or have people on my channel. So it's not any offense to them or anything like that. It's just, I have to keep focused here, and we have to keep growing this community, because that's what I want. And I hope that someday we all can come together as a larger true crime community. I would love, when we get into June, for us to all jump on a panel and give us all our ideas, you know, Drunk Turkey, Publicly Buzzed, and whoever. I think to serve you, as all, you guys all watch the same similar channels. I'm not stupid to that. Some are bigger than others. Some have a larger crowd than others, but it takes time, you know, and if you're lucky to get that viral video or a couple of them and you shoot out in that algorithm, I think that's great. There are some channels out there that I don't align with. There are some channels out there that do some stuff that I think that it's a little sus. I'm not going to go into any of that stuff, but again, I focus here, and I want to make this experience here the best that it can to my audience. So it's a little bit about it. I hope that clarifies some stuff. Let me see if anybody said. Christine really wants to see me in my boxers for some reason. She's hilarious. Mandy says free range and feral at Publicly Buzz, and they own it. Pretty funny because it was literally like that after party. I only had to raise my voice twice. They're extremely honest and humble. Yeah, I love Steve. He's a good dude. Steve's a good dude. His brother's great. Drunk Turkeys are great. I will align myself with those type of people and those types of channels. Bryan, it's all about character, the mental and moral qualities distinctive to an individual. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. So very strict here, after party there. Well, I don't understand what you think is very strict here. It's not very strict. I think I'm just very focused. And we keep things very real here on this channel. My experience here is I stick to what is reported. I don't go into conspiracy theories too much. I go on what's the evidence that it's put out there. I've been very transparent about that on my channel. If you're looking for some other experiences, you'll find that on different channels. My goal is to get to June 26th and beyond and see what happens in this case. I don't think we're strict at all. I think I'm actually really laid back. I mean, have you been on a Tuesday or a Thursday stream? Those are like parties. We really hang out on those. But I to this case is very serious to me. I want to know who did it. I want justice for these victims. Yeah. So it's pretty serious to me. I take the Idaho content very serious. Wild Cherry says, you make us all feel welcome, and that means a lot. I don't think it's strict here at all either. I don't think. I would definitely go back and watch some of the streams. It's a lot of smiles and laughs. It's a lot of good time. So it's a great blend of when you're all cooperating. Yeah, exactly. She says giant party. We aren't strict at all. I don't have Discord. I have a Telegram group set up. I'm just not really too familiar with all those messaging chattings. The biggest thing that I want, if I do set up any type of chat, is that I don't want anybody to be doxxed, and I don't want any of my personal information put out there, and I don't want anybody else's personal information out there. I know that there are some apps like what is the one, like WhatsApp, but to go into WhatsApp, your personal phone number and your information is actually used in there, and I really don't want to do that to anybody. In Discord, yeah, it's a little bit of a bad experience. I do have Telegram. Telegram seems to be pretty safe. I have a opinionated group set up in there. I set it on my community board, and no one really wanted to join. So, you know, I would say the best way is to communicate through the Facebook group right now. So Mandy says we need a team meeting soon. Bryan, you're doing great. And that's why we all come here. Yeah, I mean, we all come here for the experience. And I just love seeing all of you. Guarantee says I'm with Christine on the boxer thing. You guys are too funny. Oh my God. So I have to start doing like opinion. Oh, maybe I should do some opinionated idiot boxer shorts. I can send them out and sign them. That'd be hilarious. If Bryan keeps hanging out with public apology, you might see boxers. Yeah. All right. Gina's joking. All right. Gina's kidding. Okay. I got you, Gina. Well, I love you, Gina. Don't worry. Maybe a private. I have a Facebook group. You guys just need to sign up on it. Do you want me to do a private? I have like the public page, but I can do a private one if you all want to go in there and chat. But the problem is it's gonna put your information out there. It's gonna put your name out there. So that's decision that you all have to make. So all right, let's keep playing through this because it is getting a little bit late, and I do unfortunately have to work tomorrow. So, and then the stream's going long. We got about another 15 minutes. Let's.
James Torman Aldrich with the Argonaut. I have two questions, if that's all right. Firstly, being
okay,
what the
all right,
police
Gina, we got you.
presence is going to look like
We love you.
after Thanksgiving break, and how long that's going to last.
So I'll go ahead and
I
answer.
agree, Samantha. I
Police
do.
presence is going to be very heavy after the break. We have Idaho State Patrol that will also still be in the area, and you'll see a high impact of patrol officers and troopers, as well as Lake County Sheriff's Department personnel in the area.
Timmy, yeah, I did. The thing is, man, I get so many messages. So sometimes it takes me a long time to get back to things. I'm so sorry. The channel's growing. I have a lot of people that reach out to me. I have a lot of emails per day that I have to answer. I'm sorry, dude. I did get that. I kind of started to sort through it. You gotta think, man, like I work 40, 50 hours a week too, and I stream 3 nights a week. So I'll get to it. I promise. It just takes me a little while to respond sometimes, man. But thank you. I got it. Thank you.
And then secondly, will there be any possibility of the release of the 911 phone call, even in transcript form?
Not at this time. That's part of our investigation.
Man, that 911 call. So here's a crazy thought. Let's say Bryan Kohberger, Bryan Kohberger is the alleged murderer in this. Do you think that he was watching any of these pressers? Give me a 1 down in the chat if you think he was watching, or give me a 2 down in the chat if you don't think he was watching.
Frankie Beer, the Daily Evergreen. I guess the Moscow PD press release mentioned looking into hundreds of pieces of information about Kaylee's potential stalker. I was wondering what led you to believe she did have a stalker possibly, and why those pieces of information haven't come up with conclusive results.
I'm actually going to let Captain Lanier answer this question. Okay?
Excuse me.
Thank you, Chief. We obtained information through some of our interviews that Kaylee had made some comments about a stalker, so that's where that came from. We have followed up looking at specific time frames and specific areas of town. So far, we have not been able to corroborate it, but we're not done looking into that piece of information.
I'm just going to slow the chat down a little bit, guys.
If I can get Captain Lanier.
Thank you,
why
Leanne. I
not
appreciate
tell
that.
the public
Whoa, that's
who the
loud.
target was? You've said that this was a targeted attack. Why not tell the public who was targeted? If it was multiple people, it would go a long ways to telling the public what you're looking for and who you're looking for, the type of person you're looking for. Why not do that to alleviate some of the fears out there in the community?
Well, first and foremost, we have the integrity of the investigation to preserve. And we feel like that information is integral to us and how we conduct our investigation.
Thank you,
Releasing
Quicker.
that
I
to the
appreciate you,
public
dude.
May or may not
This
flood
is
us with a lot of
just if
information.
I may point this out. This gentleman is a U.S. veteran, has served in our military, so I honor him in that respect. And as you know, I've talked about this before. I have, I started out kind of as a kind of putzing around as a car channel. I was in the watch industry for 16 years. We used to do some watch live streams. This gentleman here has joined me on quite a few. He's a very honorable man, very nice and very kind. And it's nice to see him in the chat. And, I've done a couple some pivoting on my channel quite a bit. I've talked about this, and true crime is really where I've landed. You all know my story of my best friend being murdered. And I just felt like it was time to kind of let this out and start following some cases and bring some attention to that. So Quicker, thank you so much. I appreciate it. It was nice to see you over here, man. It really is. And we have some conversation every once in a while. So that's good. Thank you.
Information that's not relevant or specific to what we're
He's a
looking
really
for.
nice guy. He's a great guy. And
We
he's
do want more information.
a hell of a shot, by the way. He does some really intense shooting videos, and he's really good. I love watching his videos.
We don't
It has a hell of a watch collection.
We don't want to put our investigation
Thank you.
in jeopardy by releasing what we have. There's always a balance between what you're willing to release versus what you're trying to gather. We told the public very clearly from the beginning that we're looking for a knife. We've told the public very clearly from the beginning that we believe
No,
it
thank
was a
you,
targeted attack.
buddy. You're the best. You're such a great guy.
I mean, to be honest, you're going to have to trust us on that at this point, because we're not going to release why we think that.
Lauren Patterson, Northwest Public Broadcasting. I see that the FBI set up a special web page just to collect digital information. I'm also curious if any of the investigators can speak to this. Curious if the Wi-Fi hotspot has been tapped at all. It's possible if the suspect had their phone on them, it may have pinged off the Wi-Fi.
I still think it did. I think it pinged the Wi-Fi. I think you're going to see that come up in trial as well, or possibly the Bluetooth. There was some rumor that Kohberger's phone pinged the Bluetooth as well. I'm not really skilled in all of that stuff, but I have heard some reports out there that either the Wi-Fi or the Bluetooth was pinged.
Wi-Fi with residents, has that been checked on at all?
As I stated, our investigation is looking at every avenue of every piece of evidence that we can. The FBI has given us a website for any downloads of video or anything. So we ask people, if you have any of that, to send it to us, please.
All right, it's 11:11. Everybody, make a wish.
Chen, CNN. I have a couple of questions here. One, in many homicide cases, the first hours, the first days are so incredibly crucial. Now that we're moving into a window that's further and further away from the incident, does that concern you about the ability to arrest a suspect, or do you have information that you simply can't share with us that makes you confident that you're close to solving this?
I'm going to have the colonel step up and address that, please.
Well, thank you for the question, and I would like to address it a little more globally than specifically. A little more globally here. Yes, as time goes on, I mean, we're time past the initial calls for service and the initial crime. However, we also, as time goes on, are able to process the forensics evidence, any forensics evidence that we may have collected. And so that helps us. And we're also able to process the tips that continue to come in, which may help us. And so while time in one respect is not beneficial, in another respect it is, because it helps provide us with that whole picture with all of the information that we're gathering, whether it's evidence or tips or any other information that we're gathering, it may help us to provide a clearer picture. And so it may help answer those questions that we're seeking as well.
Hi, Angela Palermo, Idaho Statesman. I was wondering if there's any evidence that suggests the attacker visited the first floor where the two surviving roommates were.
That information will not be released at this time. It's part of our investigation. And as we stated earlier, there's many things that are involved in an investigation that we will release and things we won't.
Welcome to Classful. We're going to be your new best friend this school year. We help teachers.
Good afternoon, Ashley Soriano, Fox News. I have two questions. Have you considered the possibility of a murder-suicide? Is that something that you guys are considering right now?
That question has been asked.
Looking for the Telegram
previously,
link.
not
I'm
at a
sorry.
press conference. It's certainly something that we looked at in the early part of the investigation. It is not something that we're looking at this time.
And I know some of the investigators'
can get it.
vehicles and police vehicles are coming in and out of the driveway. Do you think that potentially could disturb any tire marks or other evidence?
Yeah, so the question has been asked about why did the crime scene tape expand? And that's not uncommon. When the first officers arrived, they tried to cordon off what they thought was important. We immediately expanded that when the investigators got there to process the scene. And logically, as this progresses, and you've seen this through our press releases, we have expanded it to several areas of the city and have in fact canvassed entire neighborhoods. So we try very, very hard to uncover every single bit of evidence possible in an area before we move on to the next area. So yes, we've looked at everything that we think we need to look at in and around the crime scene at this point.
But do you believe that cars coming back and forth in the driveway, potentially like tire marks or foot marks?
Sorry, I'm trying to get the link to
Well,
the
it's a
Telegram
gravel
group.
parking area, so it would be hard to say that.
Let's see.
How are you folks holding up? How are your detectives and officers holding up? And Chief, you mentioned that detectives are prepared to work tomorrow on Thanksgiving. So what is the expectation that they will be?
That is correct. We're going to have many detectives and agents working all the way through this incident. Our people are dedicated. Our people care about this community. Our people want to ensure the community that we're here to bring safety and we're here to get a resolve on this. So we will continue to push through. We'll give people time off as they need it, and we will continue to take care of them. But we're gonna keep pushing on this until we come to a conclusion.
Chris Mitchell, KLEW. Is there any plans to increase security for the Apple Cup on Friday?
Thank you, Brian on the go. I appreciate that. Beautiful car, by the way. Is that let me see. That's is that a Charger? Doesn't look like a Nova. Oh, by the way, if anybody wants to buy me a 1971 Nova in silver, I'll take it all day long because that's my dream car to own. There's one actually down in Florida that I want, but it's like $30,000. So if anyone wants to give me $30,000 to buy the car, I'll take it. It looks like a Charger, right? Yeah, I think that's a Charger. Beautiful car, by the way. I'm a car dude, by the way.
Can't speak to what's going on in the state of Washington. I can only speak to what we're doing here on the campus of the University of Idaho in concert with President Green and his team. We are absolutely, with the Idaho State Police and the Moscow Police Department, we are 100% dedicated to making sure that this continues to be.
And I have the link to the car if anybody wants to buy it.
And so that's why we have so many uniformed
I know right
troopers
where the car
here
is.
that aren't necessarily assisting with the investigation, but rather here to help with the campus security. And President Green and his team have been fantastic in helping to strike that balance to make sure that we have law enforcement resources here. So while I can't speak what's going on anywhere else, I can tell you at the University of Idaho, we have a lot of state troopers, and a severe increase of state troopers and Moscow police officers here, both on campus as well as throughout the community.
I don't know why this link is not sending. It's getting kind of annoying.
John Bell, ABC News. Are investigators looking at any possible connection to an unsolved double stabbing in the Salem, Oregon area about 1.5 years ago? Specifically, 2 people stabbed in their home in the middle of the night, long knife, no suspect at this point. One died, one survived.
I think we're looking at every avenue, and we have other agencies reaching out to us with other cases and stuff that we are doing follow-up on. We will continue to follow up on those.
Are you aware of that case?
Actually, I had a tip come in on that case, and I forwarded it to our tip line.
Okay, one more question. Can you confirm the bodies have been released to the families or are being so released today?
I believe they have been released to the family, and I know that
Okay, let's recognize
I believe one of them
this.
has already had a funeral.
Super chat KK with I think that's pound, £2. Am I right? £2 super chat. Thank you so much. Give her the
Destiny Martin with the LCSC Pathfinder Can you lend any insights into the possibility that the murder weapon is linked to the ROTC program? And also you mentioned that the analysis unit is here. Will we be able to hear anything from them about a working profile they possibly have? And on that note, have you guys ruled out the possibility that the killer might be a female?
Interesting that I talked about ROTC, yeah, I'll get that right. ROTC in the beginning of the stream, where I felt like, the leaving of the knife sheath with the U.S. Marine Corps stamp on it, the K-bar knife being used for the crime, knowing that there is tons of military presence in around both of those schools. You have the Marine Corps recruiting office. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. You have the naval base that's right there in Pullman, and all those different military. I feel like the killer was trying to use this as a shield to throw off law enforcement. What do you guys think? Let me know in the chat if I sound crazy or not.
So
the
we
link
look
to
at
the
every
Telegram
avenue. We're
group
looking at every
if you want to
group
join.
of people. Like I said early in our first press conference, we're not going to let any stone go unturned. I believe can you just clarify your second portion of that question? Oh, the BAU, sorry.
Yes, I would like to know if the BAU has a working profile, because you look at victimology. Sure. Are you able to tell us who was killed first on the time of death, so that we may understand if it was a targeted attack, it would make the most sense if they killed one of the roommates first, and then maybe the other two. I'm not. Sure. This is not speculation. I'm getting off topic. My question is are you guys looking at a working profile? Have they come up with anything new regarding the motive or intentions of the killer or killers?
The BAU unit is working diligently to do what they do. Will that be provided? I'm sure that may be provided once the conclusion of this case comes together. But they are continually taking in information and reading reports and gathering information for that.
Good afternoon, Chief. Amanda Rowley with Crime 2. Seeing some speculation with some of the cars being searched.
About 5 more minutes left in the stream, everyone. We're going to come back tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to start going through part 2. We're going to play the Bryan Kohberger press conference. We're going to play tomorrow. We'll have the Chief Fry follow-up. That after this presser, it was about a month after that. We had the Bryan Kohberger arrest on the 30th of December, and then we're going to play the follow-up video on the 31st with Chief Fry, one day after the arrest of Bryan Kohberger. Yeah, Heather, I'm going to have to figure the whole Telegram thing out. Again, I'm not too familiar with it. I'll figure out how to get the link and get it posted in the next chat. I don't want to delay too much longer here on the stream because we got quite a while to finish up. I'll try to work on getting the link out again. My apologies.
Searched this past week. Wonder if you can squash some of the rumors and that speculation. Is there anything you can share specifically on the white car out front?
Okay, I have the link. I'm going to post it.
So I'll
Try
have
this.
Captain Lanier go ahead and come up with that.
Thank you.
Try that.
Well, we have looked at
the Telegram
a lot
group.
of different vehicles. I'm assuming you're referring to the vehicles that were in the parking lot at the time. Yeah, so some of those vehicles belonged to the victims, and some.
If you don't want your name to be in that Telegram group, you need to go in your profile and change your name. If you don't want, you can change it to your screen name here if you want, but that's all in your private settings. So make sure if you join the Telegram group, anything private that you don't want shared, you need to go into your profile and change that information.
Belong to.
That's my warning to everybody.
People in the house. And so for us, that's part of the crime scene. As I mentioned earlier, the crime scene was expanded out through the parking lot. So we wanted to make sure that we looked at those.
The safest thing I would say is get into my Facebook group, and you can chat publicly, with me there. But we'll try this Telegram thing out if you want. I just wish I could build, I don't know, maybe I can do a private group or something. I'll work on something.
Releasing the crime scene. It was part of the initial investigation that night.
Thank you. And for the university, is there any additional information at this time that you can offer about the candlelight vigil, maybe what we can expect from that? And then any other information you can provide about that ask of the community to light the night on November 30th?
Thank you for that. I'm going to turn this over to Blaine Eccles at this point. He's actually planning the whole event, so we appreciate it.
Good afternoon. I'm Blaine Eccles, Dean of Students. The vigil is going to be hosted next Wednesday, November 30th at 5 p.m. We have it scheduled for the administration lawn at the moment. We're going to make a final determination on location early next week, just because we're waiting for the weather window to get closer, so we feel comfortable that that's where it will be located. We're anticipating a large turnout of community members as well as university members, students, faculty, and staff at that particular event. And all of the families have been invited to join us if they so wish from that aspect of it.
I don't know what happened to
Family members. The Light the Night event that you're talking about, while I don't have a lot of details on that, is set to coincide at the same time, just so that people that can't be here in person as part of the vigil are going to be able to participate remotely as well. The vigil will be live streamed, and it's safe to say that the vandal.
I'm such a jerk. I'm such a jerk. I know. I got trolled. I know. I'm such a jerk.
Come together to support the
I'm
families
such a jerk.
in the darkest moments of their life, quite frankly.
I know. I'm so obnoxious.
I'm gonna go ahead and
Serpentine,
take
thanks
two
for
more
joining the
questions
chat.
here.
We appreciate
Jordan Smith,
your view
KXLY.
tonight.
At this point in time, do investigators?
'Cause it helps my view count, and hopefully you go down there and you interact with the upvote or the downvote button too, because any contact that you have on my channel, the longer you type, everything that you do, it helps actually push this channel in the algorithm. So keep going for it.
Know which entrance the suspect used to enter the residence, if this was someone who might have known the door code at the front or maybe used the back door?
Once again, that's part of our investigation. We're not going to release that information this time. Thank you.
Yep. Any interaction that you have on a channel while a stream is going, a video is dropped, anything, it helps push that out into the algorithm.
No, Baltimore News 8. You said this was a targeted event. You won't tell us why they were targeted. What should students do to prevent being targeted in the future?
He's gone anyway, or she, whoever it is.
Well, that's a great question, especially in light of what just happened. If you would have asked us 9 days ago, we would have had probably a different answer. Moscow's always been a very safe community. In light of this, and maybe we should always look at it this way, vigilance, always traveling in pairs, knowing where you're going, telling someone when you arrive, and just that kind of general awareness. Maybe we should, as a community, have always been doing that. You know, in some ways, this took our innocence. I would tell students that you need to stay with a friend. I know that the university staff is looking at different options to increase some of the safety on campus and providing certain options to students. So, yeah, going forward, there's a lot of things that maybe we wish we would have done before, but we need to start doing now.
No, you can't, Christine.
So I'm going to go ahead and close, but what we do want to let our community know that we do care. We do want to provide a safe environment. We will continue to work hard, and we'll continue to do everything we can. We want people to be vigilant. We want people to report anything suspicious to us and let us get there and handle it. But we are here to provide that safety. So I want to thank you today for coming, and I appreciate your questions.
Okay, folks. So we've got through the first 3 pressers. We're coming on 3 hours, a very long stream, but a very fun one tonight. I will be back tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will continue this theme. The ones that we have up coming up is the Chief Fry. So this is really the last presser they do for about a month. In between that, on the Moscow police web YouTube page, Fry keeps doing little like 1-minute snippets where you at the case. He stops doing like full press conferences. He comes back on a month out. He does another presser. Then it's December 30th is the Kohberger announcement that they have Kohberger as a alleged suspect. And then we have the one day after Kohberger's arrested, that interview. And then I'm going to find all of the other just bits of pieces of information in between that, and we'll start kind of piecing that all together. Maybe I can find some family interviews and just keep playing through that. So the theme of this next couple, week to 2 weeks is to go back to the beginning and bring it all forward. And look what we just found in the 3 pressers that I played this evening. A lot of information either we forgot about, some new information for us to think about, or some information that we might have started to realize. So I want to appreciate everybody for hanging out in the chat this evening. If you are a first-time person over on the channel, I really would appreciate it if you can subscribe down below. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button on the way out. I do live shows every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My shows this week are going to be off on time. I won't be here Tuesday, but I will be back on Wednesday night, and I will be here on Thursday as well. And maybe we'll sneak another one on Saturday night since this one has been so successful. I want to thank everybody in the chat this evening for contributing to the channel with their super chats, the new members. I appreciate it. And everybody that has been chatting. You guys are all my faithful ones. You're my members, my subscribers. You are the community. You're the idiots that keep this channel going. You are my idiots. I have the bracelets coming up soon. We're going to do that with the opinionated idiot on it, an official idiot on the bracelets. I think that would be pretty cool. And yeah, maybe we'll get some boxer shorts together. You can buy my boxer shorts. I can sign them and send them out or something. I don't know. We'll think of something funny. But thank you all. I hope to see all of you back here tomorrow night. And we'll keep continuing with this theme. I think it's a great theme. Obviously, you all have responded very well to that. So we'll keep going with this theme right now. So thank you so much. Everybody get some rest. Be safe. I want to see everybody back here tomorrow, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't go yet. Don't all run away yet. I'm going to drop the link down below. Make sure you hit your reminder for tomorrow night. Hang on. Don't go anywhere yet. Link is here. Link is here. Thank you. I see everybody chatting. Make sure you go in there. You hit the join. Remind me. So you're all reminded, because everybody's going to go, I didn't get your reminder. I didn't get your reminder. All right. Everybody get some sleep. Recharge for tomorrow. We'll be back 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope to see you all over here. We'll continue with this awesome theme. You're all liking it. I will see you back then. Good. I got to find my outro. Good night, everybody. Have a good night.